All right, and Mr. Neil Diamond, and we are just about to get ready with the program with the Honorable Guy Joseph, the Parliamentary Rep for Castries Southeast, and we into the program inside Castries Southeast. And we should be well on the way in another 2 minutes. And Mr. Good evening to you. Hope you had a beautiful Easter weekend. And we are on right about this time. Mr. Minister, welcome to the program as always. Good evening to you on a beautiful Easter holiday.
Good evening, Champagne. Good evening to all listeners and viewers, followers on Facebook, on GVD TV, those who are listening on Sky FM 93.1. I want to take this opportunity to wish all St. Lucians during this Easter season. I know we are in the last bit of the Easter holiday.
That's right.
Which is Easter Monday. Nevertheless, I did not call the program today because I've heard a few times that people think I have a program and then I should not occupy time on the radio. So I did follow part of the program, Champagne, but I didn't want to prevent other callers from getting the opportunity.
Okay.
I said when I got here this evening, I would extend my greetings. I did have the opportunity to go out and visit a few elderly people in the community. We distributed some 200 food hampers.
Today?
Wow. Starting on Friday, Good Friday.
Yes, yes.
We did that throughout the constituency. There are certain areas that we have not touched, but this week coming we would be dealing with that because we felt that the Easter season was an opportunity to reach out and to assist some needy people within the constituency.
I didn't know you did hampers on Good Fridays. I know you do a lot for Christmas. I didn't know you did.
Well, remember, we are not able to have cricket and the other activities that we usually have due to COVID.
Right.
And as a result, we profited the opportunity that some of the money that we were spending to sponsor the cricket on a Good Friday, we used these resources to be able to reach out to needy families within the constituency. We did 200, and we did a certain section of the constituency, and this week coming there we expect to tackle the other section of the constituency that we have not touched with our food hamper drive. So because we had made the ICATA for sponsoring the Good Friday cricket every year, and we did not have it this year due to the COVID situation, we decided why not use the resources to reach out and to assist. Well, the food hampers cost us much more than the cricket, but nevertheless we felt that it was something necessary. So I send special greetings tonight to all the constituents, those I visited during this week and those that I have not visited, our followers and listeners in the US, in Canada, in the UK and other Caribbean countries where people are following Champagne. This program is reaching far and wide inside Castries Southeast. I must say that last week we got very good reviews on the program
up until today.
I hope that if not Monday coming, by the following Monday, Mangal will be back on with me, where we are going to continue to discuss, because we did not touch on the shock project and what we inherited, the pricing and everything on these things, and what we've been able to do.
We didn't touch Black Bay either.
We did not touch Black Bay, and we did not go into details on the project at St. Jude that is still in court. And so there's still quite a bit that we need to touch on as far as housing is concerned. I want, on a sad note, I want to take this opportunity to express our sincere condolences to the Henry family, that's Joachim Henry and his family, on the sudden passing of their son, Josima Henry. I think it's one that took everyone by surprise. I'm sure it's a shock to the family, and they're still trying to come to terms with it. and I take this opportunity to extend sincerest condolences to the family.
Yeah.
No matter what side we are on
Oh,
the
of course.
political divide, when it comes to things of that nature,
Yes.
we must never allow the politics to get in the
Amen.
way
Amen.
of our humanity
That
and
is
how
right.
we deal with our fellow men.
Mm-hmm.
And so I take this opportunity to express condolences to this family.
Yeah, and this morning I touched on it, and I had a lady called in, and she requested a song, and we played it, so that was good. Yeah, we are human beings first.
Yes. Also, Champagne, there are 2 deaths in the community of Trois-Pitons.
Mm-hmm.
There's also one in Wavin-Poisson, and there's also a young boy who passed in the Sarot-Chopin community. So I extend condolences to all of these families, because you know, death is something, no matter how many times it happens, we never get accustomed
Never get used
to
to
it.
it. No.
And so I want to express my sympathies to all of these families.
Mm-hmm.
Tonight I intended to deal with, now that we've gone through the Lent season and I think we are ready to start the hard politics.
Oh, yes, that is true.
And to deal with the facts and to deal with what is really happening. But I think in light of some of the events that have taken place, I must ease up on this and deal with some other issues tonight. I also want to take the opportunity to applaud St. Lucians for the conduct that I saw, at least within my constituency, during the curfew hours that started at 3 p.m. I must also applaud the Royal St.
Oh,
Lucia
yes,
Police
for sure.
Force.
You need to give them the bell on that.
Let me tell you, I was on the road and I got stopped 3 times
I
by
got
the
stopped
police.
twice today.
and I was quite pleased.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, I applauded the police officers, because when they stopped me the first time and then they said, there's another set of police down the road, most likely they will stop you again.
Right.
I said, no
That's
problem.
right.
I am more than happy to be stopped by the police to give an explanation as to where I am and why I'm on the road
That's right.
past the curfew hour. So, but it says a lot that, and I'm hoping that we do not see a spike, because I think people generally adhered to the protocols from what I saw. I am hoping that, well, because I did not go many places other than within my constituency during Good Friday. Well, Saturday I was in church, and Sunday I went a few places. Some people had promised to visit. I did visit them before the curfew hours. And then today we had a brief meeting this morning with about 8 to 10 persons we had in a meeting this morning, and we ended the meeting well ahead of the curfew hours. And then I had something to do in the Badney area, which I did, and then I'm here for the program tonight. So when the police don't do what they are supposed to do, strangely enough, I got a couple calls for people who are arrested and asked that I try and intervene, and I said no. We cannot ask the police to do their work.
Exactly.
And when the time comes and they're executing their duties, that because we know somebody,
That's right.
there are certain protocols that must be adhered to, and I'm appealing to all St. Lucians during this time. I'm talking about protocols. You know, I deliberately did not respond to this issue about I had a walk planned on Good Friday.
Yeah.
You know,
How that came about, Mr. Minister? Because I got messages on my phone, people was calling me here, all kinds of story. What happened with that?
so from my understanding, the only event that I have on a Good Friday is the cricket in Forest Hill.
I know that.
And I saw a video circulating where Richard made some statements about this. And I tell people, I don't consume alcohol. I don't drink alcohol. I don't sell alcohol. I don't get involved in things that pertains to alcohol, to say that. So I started my cricket event back in 1995.
Yeah, long time ago.
That event was being held at the playing field that is next to the Forestier School. When that event was held there, because it is the church property, alcohol was not permitted to be sold on the church property.
Right.
So whether in the school or around the field. Now, as to whether people abide by these rules is another question altogether. But for political reasons, for persons to come and say, you know, the same person who is criticizing this has been to the event on a Good Friday in Forestier, you know.
It's true.
You know, I tell people, if you change your position on things, say
right.
you've changed your position. These same people drink their alcohol on Good Friday, on Easter Sunday. I don't drink alcohol. I don't plan an event for alcohol to be sold. Are you going to say that we should not have cricket because some people decide that they are going to consume alcohol? So if the person comes with the case of drink in the back of the vehicle and they decide that they are drinking, are you going to tell them that they cannot drink? Now, at the end of the day, I wish there was no alcohol involved in the event. But I cannot tell people what to drink because I drink juice, because I drink non-alcoholic drinks. I cannot demand that everybody else drink non-alcoholic drinks. And the people who try to criticize me are themselves the heavy drinkers, not me.
But
they are the ones who get drunk and behave foolish
Yeah.
and do stupid things with themselves when they are drunk.
So here's the thing. So you brought about this event way back then, almost 26 years ago. So an activity is going on. People see an opportunity to make $1. Some people, it was not you that told people to come with a cooler to sell any alcohol.
No.
People saw people accumulating. People come to watch the game, so they figure they should sell something during that time. You know.
I have tried, Champagne, to even shift the event from the Good Friday. Because even the Good Friday is inconvenient for me also. Because remember, by sundown on Friday,
you have to go.
I don't engage in any more
Exactly.
activities.
That's
So,
right.
and so it's not that, but sometimes things grow and they become a product by themselves.
It's true.
It's built its own reputation. It does not need me to be the event that it is anymore because it has grown
Yes, it has taken
sufficiently.
shape. That's right.
From 1995, only the last 2 years we've not had the event
That's right.
due to COVID. And when I started, I came into politics in 2006. 11 years after I started that competition. So for persons to come and say, oh, you're doing this for politics or for people to sell alcohol and to do this and to do that. This started with just teams from the community of Forestier.
You know what I'm laughing at? You say, our friend has been at the event drinking his alcohol.
Yes.
Yes.
I said some of the people who are criticizing us about it have been there themselves. I guess in a different life. Now it's wrong. So, but I learned to live with this. So I want to say, so going back to the walk, I never planned the walk. I never organized the walk. So let me give you an example of some of the things that happen. And it happens to all of us as politicians, not just me. if I remember, earlier this year, there was the opening of school.
Yeah.
There was an event organized by a group from Goodlands where they were combing the children and giving them a nice hairstyle as a free gesture for the community. I was called as a parliamentary rep and say, hey, we would be there for the whole day, combing the children, washing their hair, doing different stuff. Can you sponsor us some light refreshments for the children? I said, no problem. I can sponsor you some light refreshments for the children. So we made some snacks, cakes, juice, whatever. We just got a caterer and they did that. In fact, I know the youth group in my constituency is planning one for the Badney Court on, that's, I guess it would be the 18th, if school is opening on the 19th.
So the Sunday.
The Sunday. And they have asked me to sponsor the grease, the ribbons, the whatever is needed.
The same type of
exactly. So are you going to say that the minister is planning an event and he doesn't have permission? Do I refuse an organized group within an area who ask for assistance? So the most I knew about this work, because I tell people, I don't have nothing to hide. I not come in and make up stories to tell people.
Yeah.
I was approached by a gentleman in the community who said that they had a walk. I didn't ask who had the walk, what was going on. They said every Good Friday they have a walk where they walk the area. So they wanted me to sponsor them a couple cases of water. That is all I was asked. Whether I can sponsor a couple cases of water. And I said, sure. I mean, how much is a case of water? I didn't inquire about the event at the time because that was a while back. Then I saw something circulating on social media saying there's a walk sponsored by Guy Joseph. Guy Joseph didn't sponsor no walk. Guy Joseph did not organize any walk. I mean, I know the protocol.
I was when I saw that it hit me. I said, Mr. Joseph is going to sponsor a walk on Good Friday with the corona.
I know, but it says the protocols are very clear. What are the events you can have? How many people can be present? Of course, you could have a walk with 10 people. But would I go and organize a walk with 10 people?
Yeah.
I mean, now, what is the most telling part about this for me is how the Labour Party jumped on this and realized that Guy Joseph should not have a walk in this environment. But these are the same people who had a match, who was by Casaba Beach,
yes, that's right,
singing and dancing and playing to music. Jack, go on me to bathe on my beach.
And Alan Shastin must go match as well.
Exactly. Yeah. These were the same people who the commissioner had a confrontation with right in the middle of Castries. You remember that big motorcade?
Yes.
So they know that it's wrong because they thought that they got something on Guy Joseph.
They're looking.
But I tell them, I'm smarter than that and I know better than that. I don't get. So I called a young man in the area and I said, what is this about? He said, look, I said, did you apply for the permission to have the walk? You have to go through the CMO, the police. Are you aware of the protocols? He said, well, we always doing our thing. We didn't know anything about that.
Come on.
I said, look, the best thing to do is, my advice to you is you cannot have that event on that day because you have not and the time you have to apply and get the permission, I don't see that as being possible.
Yeah.
Now, prior to somebody sending that to me on Facebook, I never knew that there was even a flyer going around. Now, for what I tell people, That is the level of hypocrisy with the Labour Party. That all of a sudden they know, oh, it's a cardinal sin now to have a walk with maybe 20 or 30 people in a community. It's a single community, you know. It's not the constituency. It's just one small section of a community planning an event that they usually walk as a family, and they decide that they're going to expand. Everybody is up in arms. Now, I don't have a problem with them being up in arms. But if they have the same reaction to the Labour Party march, to the march on the beach at Casablanca, and to the Round the Island tour that they were planning, if they had the same, then they had every reason to criticize. And if you see, even if I was having a walk, none of them in the Labour Party in no position to criticize anything that somebody else does, because they have never apologized for their behavior. So you cannot come and say, oh, it's wrong. Remember, I said in Parliament, champion, everything that the Labour Party does is right. But once somebody else does it, it becomes wrong. That's the nature of the Labour Party. And I have no time for these hypocrites. Because as far as I'm concerned, these people in no position to tell me anything.
Nothing. Nothing at all.
If I had planned a walk, the police would have to deal with me. The CMO and her team, the persons who are responsible, would have had to deal with me. Anything I have to do, if I have one person coming into St. Lucia, I call the CMO. What are the protocols? If the person has to home quarantine, I go through the normal process of filling out a form online, doing the necessaries, getting them to come and inspect the place to make a determination as to whether the person can be accommodated. And the CMO can tell you. When I deal with the Minibus Association and all the pressure we've come under to increase the number of passengers, I tell them, that's not my decision. Even if cabinet can make the decision and overrule the CMO, the cabinet will not make a decision to overrule the guidance given to us by the CMO on these matters. So that is where we are on this. So I want to assure all my Flambeau supporters, I never planned a walk. I never organized an activity, and I would not organize an activity to be in breach of the protocols that we sat in cabinet to establish.
You know, a smart thinking person, an individual would not just stay and think of, you know what, Guy Joseph is playing a match. There's a gentleman that is in cabinet. He knows all of the protocols. He's here on various radio programs, on television, warning St. Lucians about the protocols, and you will go out there and organize a match. I mean, just thinking about that doesn't even make any sense.
I have seen the Labour Party candidates in the constituency with groups of people not wearing their masks. Some of them have said openly, that mask business and that corona business, they're not in this. Yet still these same people want to come around and criticize. Criticize who? Criticize Flambeau? When y'all had y'all match. That very well could have contributed to the level of spread that we had in this country. And today, because somebody if it was a bogus thing that had happened, where somebody just, because I don't even know that that was an official circular that went around. Because first of all, I did not organize the walk. Now sometimes you have over-exuberant supporters. And they figure out, we're doing something, we're doing it in the name of our rep.
That's right.
All with good intentions. And you, as the person, don't know anything about that. For example, because of the structure that I have in my constituency for funerals and making funeral assistance available in the form of transport, I go around and somebody would tell me, thank you so much for the level of assistance that we receive from you and whatever. But that was entirely coordinated by my office. I was not even involved in the coordination, making sure that the bus was there, because there are people assigned to do these things. Anything we do, and I tell you, the Labour Party is desperate. So they went after the preschool matter. They did not succeed because they said I wasn't paying NIC for people and it's my preschool.
Yeah, your preschool.
I have time to run a preschool.
Yeah.
They say I have so many millions of dollars.
Yeah.
Is a preschool I going to go and run with the millions of dollars? I mean, it tells you the level of inconsistencies.
Exactly.
Most recently, I saw something in Tuapiton where they said we built a road and we built a retaining wall and everything blocking somebody's vehicle. Champagne, I visited the place. I saw the vehicle parked there and they had just put the boards. Now, what is the thickness of the casting for a road? The highest thickness you get is about 5 to 6 inches. 5 to 6 inches is about that height. That's about 3.
Yeah, about that. That's right.
6 inches.
That's right. Any vehicle could run over that. Any vehicle.
I saw a van parked down there. I asked them, but if you all cast the road, are you all aware that this vehicle is not going to be able to come out? Now, I wasn't saying about the height of the road.
Yeah, you're talking about the concrete.
I was saying because the concrete has to cure for at least 7 days.
Right.
Get to the strength before you are. So they tell me that's not a driving vehicle. That vehicle is a vehicle that's just parked.
Okay.
So I never raised. Now, all the contractors are from the immediate area. They are neighbors with each other. Some of them are related by blood. You think you want to make the rep look bad? That is what you choosing to go and do?
They have nothing. They have nothing. They keep searching, but there's nothing.
I mean, if you want to do something, if you want to find fault with my representation, find ways to find fault with my representation. But not these. These are non-issues. You're going to get one person to come and say, oh, they built a wall in front of his vehicle and now his vehicle can't come out. You go and look at the thing, Champagne, 5 inches or 6 inches. Now the contractor should have taken that into consideration. And from what I know, the person who was given the job to concrete that piece of road has rectified the problem.
Okay.
So you think the person had to go on the media when you are neighbors with the person, you could just go. But all of that is politically motivated. So the Labour Party is trying to find people to oppose projects. So you saw what they did with the Odsa Community Center. And when our cameras can show it, they can show us the photos. Even the roof is now going up on the Odsa Community Center.
You want to do that now or no, or later?
No, we can do it anytime during the program.
Okay.
What I'm saying to people is that the Labour Party needs to stop this type of politics. People are not foolish.
You know, they go from one to the next to the next. Nothing sticks, you know, with the Labour Party. Nothing sticks. They are trying desperately to have something to stick. Nothing sticks.
So, hopefully, one of these Mondays when I will deal with that, because I said I'm not going down that road.
Yeah.
The politics has got, the politics is so racial now that I am being attacked by the Labour Party because I'm Indian. So it's not just Alan Shastney, white man.
So they have come to the next.
It's Guy Joseph. Yes, as you can see, these are the that's the roof on the
The Human Resource Center?
The Human Resource Center in Odsa. So they basically put in the roof in place already so they can start the plastering and the finishing works on that center. You don't need to go to there yet. That's the others he was showing there is Sarot community where we are doing some footpaths and some pipe work and running pipes to get rid of all the spaghetti.
So you say now they're on your wrist. I didn't hear that one yet.
Oh yeah, I will show the messages that have been posted. So I didn't know I was white.
They saying you're white?
Well, they're not saying I'm white, but they say I'm not black.
These people have become comedies.
So I don't know what my complexion is if I'm not black.
These people are comics, man. Comics.
But it tells you how divisive the Labour Party is.
Yeah.
And I said to people, Philip J. Pierre has no control of the party that he is so-called leader of.
Yeah, but Mr. Minister, what does that tell you? If these guys have tried for 15 years, they have found nothing, they have investigated, they have put millions of the people's money out there, couldn't find anything, are you surprised that the color of your skin and your race?
But if you say, okay, I'm Indian, but does that mean I'm white? I'm not white. But you say I'm not black.
Well, they say you're Indian. Indian doesn't have something to do with the hair or the skin color. It's a race.
I thought that if anybody who's not white is considered black.
It's what it's supposed to be.
I never see myself as anything other than black.
My goodness. Wow.
So, but for the Labour Party to degenerate to that, and we've never, and I tell you, once you begin to do it at the level.
Yeah.
I remember one time on Newspin, I was called this coolie boy by a big honcho of the Labour Party. I think in the Senate on the platform, the candidate that went up against the PM had called me that coolie boy.
Mr. Gideon.
Emma had said,
yeah, insults all the time. Disrespect.
You know, but
disrespect.
I tell these people, they can talk, but that's a real man.
Oh, yes. Let them know that.
I can take everything
and
that they send my way.
And you eat hot bread and guava,
Yes.
The guy because the
I eat local bread at Tamazo.
Yeah.
And I eat local bread at Viesikwe.
That's right. And you eat guavas.
And I eat guava.
And then you have guava trees at your house anyway. Yes.
So, and I go to the supermarket.
It's just so pathetic from grown men. People are supposed to emulate, and this is what you have from them. This is
And
crazy.
so, I want persons to understand, in the desperation of the Labour Party to come into office, they will continue to do and say things that oppose the people. They are not opposing me. They are opposing the people. There were a few areas in the community where we had little issues. You know, once you are sitting MP, there are people who would be disgruntled with you. There are people that you had to do things for that you've not done, especially in this corona environment where the resources of government is so limited in terms of what you can do. A lot of things we had to do that we've not been able to do, and people will be disgruntled.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I expect increased numbers of voters. I expect to increase our margin of victory.
Oh, that is for sure.
In Castries Southeast,
sure.
in this upcoming election.
And all around the island as well.
And today, I went around, and the number of people who are once supporters of the Labour Party and told me, look, I ain't wasting my vote on this one. That's straight.
It is a waste of vote. It is a waste of vote.
These people come out straight and tell you, I've voted for the Labour Party before. If I cannot vote for you, I'm not voting.
Yeah, and they're right.
And some of them who are unhappy because I've not done something I had to do for them, they tell me, like I met a lady, and I want to say, special good night to cul-de-sac. Let me tell you, everybody knows that Labour Party has more votes in cul-de-sac than UWP. But I can tell you, the flabos in cul-de-sac are very solid. And this time around, we're going to have even more support from the community of cul-de-sac.
So we're looking at taking cul-de-sac.
Hopefully we can. Or we can reduce the margins of labor in that community. Because people see the level of development taking place within the community. And not just the community, but the surrounding.
There's something you would ask the Labour Party supporter. You ask them, give me a reason why you would vote for the Labour Party in this coming election, and they could never tell you. They cannot tell you that I am voting for the Labour Party because we are going to do this. They never put anything out there.
There's a video clipping that I sent. I don't know if our television crew, the one where Dr. Anthony was addressing the crowd at Marsha. Can you play that for me? And I will comment on it after you played it.
You want the audio? All right.
Mounting pressure to address a recurrent deficit of $76 million and public sector unions rejecting a proposed 5% wage cut for public officers grades 4 to 21. Government is attempting to rein in a bloated public payroll, and with the government negotiating team soon to be activated, the Prime Minister has been championing the message of consensus with public sector unions. On Tuesday, July 1st, he brought that message to the Marshall community as he spoke to residents about the dire state of the economy and fielded their questions on issues such as salaries and the way forward. The government has warned that decisive action must be taken to seal the loopholes that have previously bled the public coffers. The Prime Minister has described the proposed 5% wage cut as painful but necessary. Some of those gathered at the Marshall Community Centre were focused on the future and on just what would happen if the much-talked-about consensus is not achieved. The Prime Minister says what the IMF is proposing is much more severe, including getting rid of all subsidies, reducing concessions for investors, and a wage cut twice as much as what is being proposed presently.
IMF is saying that in the case of St. Lucia, and you know recently they issued a statement to all the governments in the region saying to them that they have...
There is no doubt that the Dr. Kenny Anthony administration has been feeling the heat, with mounting pressure to address a recurrent deficit of $76 million and public sector unions rejecting a proposed 5% wage cut for public officers grades 4 to 21. Government is attempting to rein in a bloated public payroll, and with the government negotiating team soon to be activated, the Prime Minister has been championing the message of consensus with public sector unions. On Tuesday, July 1st, he brought that message to the Marshall community as he spoke to residents about the dire state of the economy and fielded their questions on issues such as salaries and the way forward. The government has warned that decisive action must be taken to seal the loopholes that have previously bled the public coffers. The Prime Minister has described the proposed 5% wage cut as painful but necessary. Some of those gathered at the Marshall Community Centre were focused on the future and on just what would happen if the much-talked-about consensus is not achieved. The Prime Minister says what the IMF is proposing is much more severe, including getting rid of all subsidies, reducing concessions for investors, and a wage cut twice as much as what is being proposed presently.
IMF is saying that in the case of St. Lucia, and you know recently they issued a statement to all the governments in the region saying to them that they have little choice but to reduce wages and salaries. In the case of St. Lucia, they are saying that we should reduce salaries and wages by 10%, not 5%. Now clearly, our government believes that 10% would be exceedingly harsh on our public officers in our country, that rather it is better for us to work around it with those new measures.
The Prime Minister answered questions on government's approach with the unions. He said contrary to some of what is being said, government has been flexible with the unions, agreeing to many of their suggestions, including protection for lower grade officers and the activation of the government negotiating team.
I just want you to think for a moment the things that have been said about me and the government over the last few months, and I have never opened my mouth and replied. Never opened my mouth and replied except to give encouragement to the negotiating process. So I appreciate your question, but all I'm trying to say to you, I don't think it's a fair criticism because it don't stand up to the facts. As a matter of fact, there are now people saying to us, why are we dragging this thing like that? And I now have the challenge to say to them that we may be dragging it, but it is important for the country, and I would like to feel that the people of this country, you, whether it is from the east or the west, from the north or the south, feel that there was a genuine attempt on the part of the government to embrace the unions and the association.
The Prime Minister says the goal is consensus, adding St. Lucia needs agreement among key players on the sacrifices and economic direction needed to take the island out of the current economic slump. Alison Kentish, HTS News Force.
Okay.
Thank you very much. You know, on a side note, Champion, before I go to this, I just looked at the picture of Dr. Anthony, and I smiled, and I said, well, if I'm not black because of Indian, then I wonder where would Dr. Kenny Anthony fall in the equation? You know, that is the level of hypocrisy of the St. Lucia Labour Party. And if y'all have nothing to say, keep quiet.
Let's keep quiet, yes.
You know, as I saw a video going around, a fella said, look, y'all have nothing to offer. Leave the country alone.
Right. Leave it.
Let the government who has something to offer to the country run the affairs of the country. Now let's go back to this video, not to play the video, but let's run through what the video says. That's a news release from HTS that was aired a while back in 2015, thereabout. What did the Dr. Anthony administration say? They said that there was a recurrent deficit. Now, you know what the recurrent expenditure is, not capital expenditure, a recurrent deficit of $76 million. In other words, every year, the country had to borrow $76 million to meet its basic operations.
That's right.
Paying wages and salaries, running the hospitals, the police force, this, that. This is what was there. Then, note the words, they have been asked to close the loopholes that bleed the government coffers. Now, when I tell you, these unions, some of these unions are sellout. When Labour Party is in office, they sell out the workers of this country. And when UWP is in office, they try their best to make it as difficult as possible. These same unions who accepted 000, what did they do when the Labour Party came in? When the Labour Party was in, they accepted 000.
Right.
When the UWP came in, you know how much they asked for? 26%.
26. Can you believe it?
We ended up giving them 14%. As soon as Labour Party came in, how did they describe it? Bleeding the coffers of government. And how did they plan to close the loophole? by cutting public servant salaries by 5%. But these same public servants and these same unions who had agreed to that, some of them, with the Labour Party, when we asked them in the COVID environment to take bonds for payment for 3 months, refused. You see that double standard that we have to deal with? Then, what did he say the IMF told them? They will have to cut all subsidies and stop all concessions. So let me tell you something. If you stop all concessions in St. Lucia, who you getting to come and invest in the country? So Barbados is giving concessions. Barbados on an IMF program. They're giving concessions. Grenada, Dominica, Antigua, and anywhere you go, they're giving concessions. So you think the people would leave a place where they get in concessions to do projects and they would come to St. Lucia? Then, so to bridge the deficit gap, rather than the Labour Party coming with a plan to grow the economy, because when you owe in, or when your expenditure is higher than your income, what do, Champagne? You try to find, so you at the airport, you working, you realize that your income for the month cannot meet your commitments. By the time you put fuel, you pay your light bill, you put groceries, you pay your rent, you whatever you do, you realize you're not making enough money there. So what you may do is find a part-time job somewhere else. Try and get a small contract to make ends meet. Your first reaction, yes, you may say, okay, let me see if I can cut down on all unnecessary spending. But what the Labour Party proposed to do, they said the IMF asked them to cut public servant salaries by 10%. So why since Flambeau came in, they didn't ask us to cut public servant salaries by 10%?
That's a great question.
I want the people of St. Lucia to ask the Labour Party, what is it that Prime Minister Alan Chasney has been able to do in this environment that they did not ask him to cut public servant salaries?
Even in the midst of COVID.
You see, that's why I tell the people of St. Lucia, you want to support your Labour Party, you can go ahead and support them. But don't try to make what they do right, because wrong cannot be right.
Right.
Wrong is wrong and right is right. So don't try to make wrong right, because wrong cannot be right.
Nope.
If it's wrong already, it's wrong. So the Labour Party does not have the capacity or the capability to govern. It's not my fault. I'm not the one who chose them.
It's true.
C'est pas moi qui fait yo pas à faire travail là. I didn't do anything to them. I found them grown men and women as they are.
That's right.
So if they don't have the capacity, so if a man can climb a coconut tree, what
Just
can you
can't
do?
climb it. That's it. You can't climb it.
You might have to get a helicopter and tie a rope and drop him down in the coconut tree.
That's what you
But
have
if he can't climb a tree, he cannot climb it.
climb
There's
it.
nothing I can do
No.
to make him climb the tree.
It's true. Simple.
So, the years we have voted Labour, and I made that mistake one time where I voted the Labour Party, I realized after 1 year that I had made a mistake. And I informed the leaders of the party that, look here, you all are taking the country in the wrong direction. I had that conversation with Dr. Anthony as president of the National Council on Public Transport. I said, sir, we gave you a mandate, but the direction that you are taking this country is the wrong direction.
And you spoke about the country, not just the bus sector.
No, the country, because the bus sector is just one sector within the country.
Yes.
So I want people to understand. When you, now look at the situation. We run the government between 2006 2011. The Labour Party matched with the unions to force us to give the 14.5%.
Bite the bullet, the former Prime Minister said. That's what he said.
Said, you promise the people the money, pay them the money. That's what they said. Quand yo vina gouvernement sa yo vle fe, même salaire yo te di nou pay. So under the UWP government, we found the money to pay the public servants. IMF never tell us you cannot pay public servants that amount of money. You need to cut back their salaries.
And you know the people must remember what was said. They said that Honorable Stephenson King paid too much money. They asked for the Prime Minister to pay the money at the time. When they got in, they said too much money was paid. Can you imagine?
That is why I want young people who are listening to me or who will at some point watch this on Facebook to understand you don't have a future in St. Lucia under a Labour Party.
No, you don't.
Not the people I see there. So they talk about a youth economy. And I ask them, so Emma, Virginia, Philip, Kenny, that's the youth economy you present.
That's almost 200 years combined, more than 200 years combined. So I mean,
that is what you presenting for us as a youth economy. What is it that these people have done successfully
for the youth?
For the country.
Yeah. But they're talking about youth economy.
So I want UWP gives people an increase in salaries. When Labour Party comes into office, they want to cut down the increase that we give. You going to vote for somebody like this? But I wasn't the one. So if you look at this interview, Champagne, that was done with HTS, that is as bad or worse than the interview that was done with JDA, where the Labour Party said that something happened that never happened before.
Never happened before.
They went to the market and could not raise money.
Couldn't borrow a cent.
Why is it that the Prime Minister Alan Chasney government has been able to raise revenue every single time that we've gone to the market? Why? What is the difference? The difference is the governance of this country. The difference is the confidence that they have in the direction that Prime Minister Chasney is taking the economy of this country. And so this is not just about constituency. Yes, we may not have done everything you want in the constituency, but we have to understand that it's a country we are running, not just a constituency.
That's right.
And I want people to come to terms. Don't take my word for it. Play the interview. It's on social media. Go and find it and play and listen to the choice of words. World Bank told them they must reduce the recurrent deficit. They must block the loopholes that are bleeding the government coffers. And how did they plan to block these loopholes? By going and cut public servant salaries by 5%. Yet still, they want to take the Prime Minister Alan Chasney government to court to pay them the increase. Listen, we gave them the increase, you know. You remember what Dr. Anthony said? Dr. Anthony said that his cabinet will not accept the increase. As soon as UWP came into office, they went and filed a case against the government to force the government to pay them the increase. How can that be? And people are taking the Labour Party serious. People want to look at these as an option for governance.
To replace this administration.
Now, if there's one time we need a new party in St. Lucia to replace the St. Lucia Labour Party, is now.
Is now.
Because this party is lost completely clueless. They have nothing to offer. And I challenge them to show me what they have to offer.
Yes.
Philip JPI is telling you, oh, we'll give the people money, we'll do this, we'll do that.
Yeah.
In the same breath, he's in parliament telling you, we will have difficulty to borrow.
Okay.
Under Prime Minister Alan Shasney government, we have already raised close to $100 million to finance the new budget. During this, the old financial year, which ended on March 31st, we have already put provisions in place to start financing the new budget. I mean, that is night and day compared to the Labour Party. The Labour Party don't know what to do. It's not their fault. The people that they have chosen to be candidates, they are clueless about what to do. So I'm going back to the point I was making.
Yeah. But we cannot blame, if the St. Lucian people vote the Labour Party in, Philip JP has already said that he will have difficulty borrowing. So you cannot blame him again. Because il a dû passage when l'argent. So if you go out there on election morning and vote the Labour Party, bring in Philip JP as Prime Minister, 1 year later St. Lucia is struggling, you cannot blame the man because he won you.
But he has already told you that
he
cannot do
be
it.
able to borrow. Okay.
But I'm going back to the point that I was making. Because in this interview that we saw there, the evidence is clear. So, if at that time they told them all subsidies so no more subsidy. So presently the government is subsidizing cooking gas. So cooking gas will go to the full price. Will a bottle of cooking gas go to $40 or $50? What will the price of cooking gas be? How many people will be able to afford? All of the other things, the subsidies for the school. Remember, the Labour Party had stopped paying the teachers who are going to teachers' college. The amount of things that the Labour Party has taken away from the people of St. Lucia. Remember, it was that same Labour Party who moved all the public servants on pension and put them on NIC. Where were the unions when that was happening? And imagine, you retire at 55 and you have to wait until 65 to start getting your pension. What do you do between that time period? Anyway, I want to move on. So, they say, cut public service to reduce salaries and wages. They said the IMF told them they must cut by 10%. So they were coming to cut by 5%. So it means that they had plans to lay off some workers. Because if you had to get that amount of savings, if you cut it down by 5%, so what is the wage bill in St. Lucia? The wage bill is about 44 million a month. 44 million by 10, that's 440 and another 80. So that's $520 million for the year. 10% of 500 is 50. So the Labour Party was saying that the IMF told them that they had to cut public servant salaries by $50 million. Now let me tell you where we got fooled by the Labour Party. And that is why the fellas in the Labour Party, let me be more cautious in my language. The leaders of the Labour Party, the gentlemen and women of the Labour Party, they don't know what they're about. When they introduced VAT, what did they tell us? VAT is going to solve the problems. Isn't that what they said?
What they said.
Now remember under a UWP government, we did not have VAT. We were able to meet public servant salaries every month. IMF never tell us we have to cut public servant salaries. We fought VAT. The Labour Party came in, introduced VAT at 15%. And after they introduced VAT at 15%, they came back to tell the people, we still, because VAT was introduced in 2012. By 2015, they were looking at cutting public servant salaries by 5%. Or as, well, they say, what they proposed was 5%. And they were not just looking at cutting it, you know, Champagne. It came to Parliament. And the one book, the budget book that has recurrent expenditure and capital expenditure, was separated in two. So all the salaries, wages and emoluments and everything else was excluded from the main budget book of estimates of revenue and expenditure. And it was put in a separate book because in it they had already factored the cut of the 5%. And it was under the leadership of Senator Mary Isaac, who was head of the union at the time, who put up a fight against the government. That is why the public servant salaries was not cut. So let's look at that and let's put that, because I want people to understand. If a man cannot manage his own finances at home, you giving him the finances of your business to run for you? Or you'll give him the finances of the country?
Oh, you're in trouble.
Nous fini.
Oh, fini.
Si le ba vini a gouvernement besan, nous fini cette liste.
Ils ont fait avant.
Because, look at it. They introduced VAT, which brought in over $100 million in revenue. What happened to that money? You still couldn't pay the salaries. You couldn't bridge the gap, because I kept on telling them, everywhere that VAT was introduced, it never solved the problem. Somebody tell you VAT will solve problem, so you introduce VAT. Now let's look at the difference. Under UWP government, we came and we reduced VAT by 2.5%, and we have still been able to pay salaries every month, even in a COVID environment. Let me tell you, Prime Minister Alan Chasney deserves a medal of honor for the manner in which he has managed the economy of this country.
That's right.
And that is what this election comes down to. Who is best equipped and capable?
Yes.
Who has shown that they have the best ability to manage the resources and the economy of this country? That is what it boils down to. You may not, the candidate you have may not be the first choice of candidate for you, to whoever it is. But let's look at the team. Which team is best placed to handle the affairs of this country? Because that, for me, Champagne, is the key to what we are dealing with. Because I am afraid for St. Lucia under the hands of a St. Lucia Labour Party. I wish I saw some hopeful signs of a potential good team from the Labour Party, because any good government is good for St. Lucia. Good government doesn't have to come only from the UWP. But you cannot make bad good.
No.
If they're bad already, they're just bad. There's nothing, and look at them.
I've never seen a rotten mango come back and look beautiful.
Look at them, Champagne.
Poo-wee.
Look at the team that they are giving you. Kenny Anthony, Philip J.P.
We want to go step by step. Kenny Anthony, nothing for Beaufort South. Absolutely nothing. It took him 17 years to rehabilitate a square. 17 years. Philip J.P. destroyed all the commercial aspect of Marshall. Every single, and we had at least 20-something shops on both sides of the road. Now there are 2. So that one is gone. Where are we going? We're going to Beaufort North. Give me some stats on Beaufort North, if you know any. I mean, the list goes on and on. Come on.
What I'm saying, I want people to understand. Every time we put Labour Party into office, we take, Senegalusa takes a number of steps backward. We don't go forward. So I'm evaluating what they were able to do. When we did not have a pandemic, we did not have COVID, we did not have an environment where things were as difficult as it is now. Now, if Guamundiu, si la pli,
Paple coucou.
paple bokit la,
Oui.
ese se wen ki kay plen.
I mean, when we look at the Miss Hippolyte coming from the Gozile constituency, they didn't do a thing for the people up there, and would transfer or move herself over to Soufre. I mean, the people of Soufre, they need to ask her the question, what are your plans for Soufre? And I'm curious to find out what the answers are. You didn't do anything in the north, but you're going to go down in the west and do what?
Because that is, you see, the Labour Party candidates, it's about them. It's not about the people. Emma has no intention of doing anything for the people of Soufre. Today she knows there's a Soufre. When they ask her why is Grozile she was going up for, she knew Grozile better. She was more comfortable with Grozile. So what happened? Because Grozile ran after you, is Soufre you London?
Yeah.
A reject from Grozile becomes the best that Labour Party can offer Soufre?
Yeah, but she said she went back home.
No, that is utter disrespect to the voters in Soufre. But everybody have their choice. At the end of the day, the people of Soufre will decide who they're voting for, and I know they're voting for Honorable Herod Stanislas.
Every day.
So, I'm going back to this because I want people to understand. How is it possible that a youth, so the IMF put pressure on the Labour Party to cut the public service by 10%. Now, remember the deficit was 76 million. If 10% was only going to save you 50 million or thereabout, where would the other 26 million come from?
You have to take it somewhere else, but he said on subsidies.
So, we need to come to terms because all the signs are there. You know, it's like you dating Champagne, and because you love this lady so much, you overlook all her flaws. All the signs that show you, look here, you
trouble.
need to be careful.
Yeah.
You need to pay attention to this. You go and get married. When you get married now, all of a sudden, all the things you didn't see, you begin to see now.
Them, yeah.
And I went to counseling before I got married because that is a requirement of my church, that you have to do a good few weeks, you know, of counseling. And I have to applaud Pastor Charles. I don't think that I ever got the things that I learned from Pastor Charles during counseling. I have never learned. That's a gentleman who knows, who understands. And when he counsels you, if you're not serious, you don't get it back.
Okay.
You really have to love that lady and really care about her, because he does not hide anything. He tells you the reality of what it is you are getting into. And he gives you the option, even at the altar, to change your mind if you want to.
Even on that day.
Now, the problem with the politics is if you marry the Labour Party, no matter what you do, there's no divorce before the 5 years.
No, you stop.
you are stuck.
You're stuck with it.
And that is the problem. And the damage that can be done in 5 years. You remember what the late George Odlum said? What it took the UWP so many years to build. And who was one of the leaders of the Labour Party was the late George Odlum. And he told St. Lucians the Labour Party would destroy.
Yes, destroy. And they did. He was right. He was right.
And he's been proven right several times. So I want people to come to terms with what we are saying. Now, not the words again. So, cut the public service to reduce salaries and wages by 10%. That is what Dr. Anthony said, you know. And he went to a meeting at Masha, in the Masha Community Center, I guess with union residents and everybody. He was campaigning throughout the country to get support to cut public servant salaries.
That's right.
Why he wasn't campaigning to grow the economy?
Couldn't do it.
When UWP came into office, what did we do? Because remember, every year the Labour Party was there is in reverse. Negative growth. I tell the English language they have to find a better way.
Yeah.
You cannot be growing backwards. You cannot have negative growth. You can only have, your growth is supposed to be positive. So the economy was shrinking under the Labour Party every year for the 5 years that they were in government. I think 1 year we had a little something. You look at the difference with a United Workers' Party government. We cut back VAT. We have not collected property tax for 5 years.
Yes, we have to
We reduced license fees that Labour Party had increased. The increase they had put on, we reduced it by 50%. We increased the school transport subsidy. We increased the school feeding program. We spend more money on school repairs. Look at the amount of roads we are doing and everything.
So, Mr. Minister, one would ask, if the government has not been able to collect property tax, as a matter of fact, they have given an amnesty and increased it, where is all that money coming from to have things in operation the way it is in this country?
Because we have grown the economy, we have expanded the base of the economy.
That's right.
So that is what people are not understanding.
Yes, yes. 4 years, no property tax, and that is very important for all the landowners or the property owners.
If you have $100, some people, 10% of $100
$10
is $10. If you have $200, 10% of $200 is how much?
20.
It's 20. So I remember telling Honorable Philip JP in the Parliament, I said, you come and you talk about free ways that people can raise money. You beg, which means you go and ask people. You borrow, or you steal.
Yeah. These are not the three best ways I could tell you.
So I said, so what about investment? Where does investment come in? So under a UWP government, we have seen an expansion in the economy. We have created jobs. Today, yesterday I was having a chat with a young lady in the Badney community. And I was saying, under the Labour Party who promised us jobs, every single time, every year the unemployment figures went up when it should be going down. The same people who want to talk about youth economy, ask them what is the youth economy. They don't know. Youth unemployment went up to 44%. So let us put that in, because sometimes percentages don't tell you the true picture. Let's put it in numbers. Out of every 100 young people who was trying to get a job in St. Lucia, 44 of them could not get jobs.
That is what it is.
Which is almost half.
Almost half. That is very high.
That is 56 young people were working and 44 not working out of every 100.
That is the best way to put it. That is the best way to put it.
Under a UWP government in 4 years, the unemployment went down by 10% among the youth. Now, that's why I tell you, you can play with numbers, and I can play with numbers in my head, but I try not to. So it means that under a UWP government,
64% of young people were working. 66.
66%. 66 out of every young person was working, and 34 was not working. So who did a better job?
It's clear.
Now, if you take that in percentage terms, so of the 44%, 10 into 44 can go 4.4 times.
Yes.
Which means that from the numbers that we got from the Labour Party, we would have reduced it by 25% of the 44. If you follow what I'm saying.
I'm getting your drift.
So, but I don't use numbers that way. So when a Labour Party want to come and manipulate numbers, but I can just show them that I know how to use the numbers. So I can tell you the numbers of unemployment that the Labour Party left. In actual numbers, we reduced it. We could say we reduced it by 25%.
I see, based on what you're saying, yeah.
But we are not looking at it that way, because the environment we want to create is where every young person who desires to have a job should have a job that they can get.
That is right. That is right.
That is where we want to go. So I want the people of St. Lucia to understand. So when they say, when he says, who are the people? He said, you remember in the interview, people ask him, why you all dragging this thing so much? Why he didn't say which people? Why they, so which means that IMF tell you just cut down by 10%.
So let me just cut it.
Just cut it.
Yeah.
He's saying, now, for me, that's how the Labour Party operates. There's always somebody who says something, but that somebody doesn't exist.
No, exactly.
So, people have been telling him,
cut it.
why are you dragging this thing so long? In other words, why are you going and talk to the unions and talk to the people and try to get consensus? Just do it.
Just do it, yeah.
But I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Because why didn't you say the unions or your supporters or this or you just say people have been telling me. So who are the people?
Who are the people? That's right. Good question.
Okay. So I want St. Lucians to understand. If you think that this Labour Party has any solution for St. Lucia, let's go back to the history of what they did in the best of times. So I want my people in Castries Southeast to follow what I'm saying tonight and the rest of St. Lucia. There is no hope. There's no chance. There's no opportunity with the St. Lucia Labour Party. All the Labour Party is doing is about themselves, and we spoke about it last week. I show you what they did in housing. I show you all the deals that they made and how much it cost St. Lucia, and no St. Lucian got a house lot from them.
Not a single one.
So what record you want me to show you again? What is it you want me to tell you? I mean, there it is clear. Now I want to take a little longer for calls tonight, but I want to highlight one thing that was in the Prime Minister's statement when he presented the estimates of revenue and expenditure on page 14. He says, this year.
This year, okay.
Just the budget that we are going through now. He says, Mr. Speaker, in comparison of the movement of the central government debt stock over the past decade, from 2011 to 2020, shows that the average annual increase between 2011 and 2015, who was in government?
Yes, LP.
The average annual increase in the debt was 9%.
Debt increase.
Debt increase, average 9% per year. You know how much it was on the UWP government? Compared to 4.89% in the period 2016 to 2020. So prior to COVID, our debt on a year by year only increased by 4.89%. Almost
the Labour
Party increased it by almost double
right.
what it. Yet still you had
They talk
the
about borrowing.
MPs coming in parliament and tell you how much $1 billion we borrow.
borrow.
So if we borrow this $1 billion, where is it? You see, the Labour Party continue to mislead people. They use figures to mislead people. I will highlight one other thing the Prime Minister said, and that is where I'm showing you where you make savings. So when your expenditure is going above your income, you either get additional work to do. So that's why some people have a part-time job. Some people who have a full-time job, but they have a little hairdressing thing doing. So they may comb somebody's hair and they get a little money that can help pay the light bill. Then you may have, they may be doing a little massaging. They may be doing some ice lollies and cakes that they sell maybe on a weekend. They may do a little barbecue. So that helps to augment the income that you are making from your salary. And that is what this government has been able to do under the leadership of Prime Minister Alan Chasney. I tell people, because I am in it, I am seeing how he's managing the economy. I am seeing the resources. The Labour Party was spending $1 million a year for school repairs. In 1 year, the UWP government spent $10 million. It would take the Labour Party 2 terms to repair the amount of schools we repaired in 1 year.
10 years, it's true.
And you want to go and put these fellas back in government? To do what? Philip J. Pierre was the Minister for Infrastructure, and they had put schools, they had removed it from the Ministry of Education and put it under the Ministry of Infrastructure. And Dr. Anthony was the Minister for Finance.
Schools were removed under education?
For repairs, yes.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Remember, under UWP government, there was a unit in the Ministry of Education
I remember
that saw to the repairs of schools.
Of schools, yes.
So that is why you had electrical things. Children almost got electrocuted in schools. Schools without doors. Because by the time the Ministry of Education would lodge a complaint to the Ministry of Infrastructure, there are basic works. If you're doing major works, I can understand that.
I could tell you in 2018, and I am on record with all of their operatives, I went to the Marshall School and the toilet facility had no separation with the kids from boys and girls. No doors, not a single door. I'll leave it there. Not one.
And that was in whose constituency?
Philip J. Pierre.
And who was Minister for Infrastructure? The repairs of schools were under his portfolio. And he couldn't even repair the schools in his own constituency.
Couldn't do it.
Now, here's another thing. Mr. Speaker, despite the borrowings undertaken in recent times, the government placed special emphasis on concessional financing, which has led to the lengthening of the average time to maturity from 4.9 years in 2016 to 5.7 years. So we have a longer time period. So it is less strain. So it means that if every year, if you'd have to pay $20 million this year, it might go down to 17 million because you have an extra year to pay that loan.
Okay.
So that is the type of management that Prime Minister Chasney has brought to the table in terms of where we are. And further, we recorded a lowering of the weighted average cost of debt of 4.86% from 5.31% in 2016. So the average weighted average cost of debt is the interest payments. When you are able to reduce interest, so you may say, okay, if you reduce interest by 1%, what is that? But when you talk about $1 billion,
Oh, yeah.
that's a lot of money you begin to speak about.
That's right.
Okay? That's millions you're speaking about there now in savings.
Savings.
So if the country's debt is $3 billion and you are able to bring in savings, what would be 1%
of a billion?
1% of 1 million would be what? 100,000?
1%? 10% of a million.
No, 1%. I
Well,
cannot
1%
do the
would be
calculations
10,000,
right
something
now.
like that.
Maybe a caller will give me
1% of a million should work out to be 10,000, something like that. I don't know. My math is not 100% at the moment.
So, I just want people to come to understand what we've done, what Prime Minister Chasney has been able to accomplish in lengthening the maturity period, in reducing the number of times we have rollover from short-term debt to longer-term debt, which means that every time you have treasury bills, every 90 days it goes out to be rolled over. Because a lot of the borrowing we've done is not new borrowing. Even in the midst of COVID, we've paid down over 100 and I think we paid close to 170 or 190 million dollars in debt that we had paid as we came into government, you know, or for this year. So in the midst of everything that is happening, St. Lucia has met all of its financial obligations. It's been tight. We've not been able to do all the things we wanted to do as a country. And I say to my constituents every day, there are projects, I promise you, that we would have done. But at the time, we did not know COVID would happen. We did not know the economy would have been impacted. And the same applies to all my colleagues. Monies that was specifically for projects like DVRP and these things. These projects are ongoing. For the road projects financed through the Taiwanese, the airport project and these things. These are projects that are ongoing. But thank God for these projects. Because a lot of people are at work in St. Lucia today. Can you imagine if we had shut down everything?
Had it not been for the construction sector, we'd be in problems here. It would be in big problems.
So, St. Lucians, you cannot expect magic from the Labour Party. They don't have it in them.
Even in opposition, the Labour Party has cost this country money, you know, with the carbon issue.
Yes.
If they had not put pressure on the carbon people, these people would not wipe out that loan. So the NIC would be making all their profits throughout the years. Even in opposition.
Because, and look at their investment in Blue Coral. I want the gurus of the Labour Party to come and tell me the profits in Blue Coral. Who built Laplace Carénage and what was the profit? Laplace Carénage was costing SLASPA more than they were making. I know these things. I've been around to analyze what has happened. And this is not just about campaigning. This is not about just talking for talking's sake.
The Blue Coral Mall, Mr. Minister, is that loan cleared off by now?
My understanding is they may have converted that to shares because they could not meet the obligations of the payment. I'm subject to correction on that, but to my recollection, that is what would have happened.
Yeah, even in opposition, the Labour Party still has cost this country money, the NIC.
Now, a lot of people might be watching my bottle tonight, champagne, and wondering why. That's the color of my alma mater, the school where I did my degree.
Yes, Lynchburg University.
Lynchburg University.
Yes.
That's a bottle I got from them, so that's why it's that color.
That's not even red anyway. That's not even red. We're doing some video. You want to take, because you said you were doing some.
I wanted the photos of the project in Sarot.
Okay.
I knew somebody would have given that to me, Champagne. 1% of 1 million is 10,000.
That's what I said. But let me give my. Let me
yes,
ring the bell for my
you are right.
man.
But I wanted 1% of 1 billion.
Oh, 1 billion. Okay, so then that would be.
So if my mathematician would give that to me quickly.
So that would be 10 million.
1% of 1 billion. Yeah, it might very well be. It might very well be 10
million.
10
something
million
like that.
or thereabout. But I'm sure a mathematician would give me that.
I know a little math. If it's one thing about me, I know a little math. Not a lot, but a little math. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're doing the photos, or you still want to continue with this?
If you have, yes. So these are photos of and you know who's doing that project in my constituency, Champagne? CIE, Renault's Construction.
No way.
Yes, because that's a project that was tendered.
Yes.
So I have 3 projects ongoing in my constituency. That's why I tell you, there's no other time when more money have been spent in Castries Southeast than what we are seeing happening.
Yes.
That one is in Tuapito. That's one we did on the CDP.
Right.
That's in a small community just above the garbage dump in Tuapito there. The family living down there had to walk. It was a very slippery area there. And we built that footpath through the CDP for the residents there. But I was saying, in the Sarot community, and we have some roads ongoing in Bexo and these places, the works are ongoing. These projects went out to tender through the Ministry of Housing, and the 3 contractors who emerged was CIE. He got 2 of the projects. He got 1 in my area and 1 in Larishus in Viewfort. That's in Dr. Kenny Anthony's constituency. And these works are ongoing.
Right.
So when they tell you we're not doing nothing in opposition, don't mind them. I had that chat with Dr. Anthony in the parliament, and I told him, your project is going on. You have not told me thank you for the project that I'm doing in your constituency.
What is that? You
just laughed, you know.
Yeah.
But
so you said
CIE, Jim Cobb Construction, and Dean Nicholas from
I don't hear anything about Fresh Start.
No. None of my contractors in my constituency, and you know Castries Southeast has the most contractors.
Okay.
None of my contractors got through on these projects.
Okay.
Because we've just gone out to tender. We've tendered the 2 community centers in one in PI and one in Roblo. That's in Choiseul constituency. We just finished the drainage tenders in Anslare, Soufre, and Choiseul. So we have 3 sets of drains starting there. We have the PI bridge. That's out for tender. That should be coming in.
So we're making that bridge a 2-lane traffic.
Yes. The bridge that the Labour Party never finished in PI.
Yes.
The United Workers Party under Minister Bradley Felix will get the 2-way bridge.
And 136 million was spent on the repaving of the road.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then we have We have other projects. We have the ancillary Venus Road that is also out for tender. Because remember, since Hurricane Thomas, that link road between Venus and ancillary, which is a scenic road taking you to the waterfalls.
Yeah.
And
you know the amount of St. Lucians that have not seen that place. I had I used to climb a lot when I was younger. Have you seen that? You've been there? You made the round before?
Oh yeah, I've gone there several times.
Yeah. That would be a very great project for St. Lucia. Great project.
So my mathematician sent me something there. It's 10 million.
Let me give myself the bell again. But I know a little math.
So that's what we are saying. So when we are able to reduce our interest rate, if we are able to reduce the interest rate by 1% on $3 billion, that is $30 million savings that you are making.
That's a lot of money saved.
So that is why I'm telling people, the Labour Party was just borrowing like there's no tomorrow. They're criticizing us for borrowing. Look at the rates we got for the airport loan and for the roads that the Taiwanese are financing. You cannot get better financing terms than this. The monies that we got. You know, one time in Parliament, I said, look, if you get in money today at 0.25% and you have to pay 40 years down the road, you are better off taking that money and deposit it in the bank. Because the interest you are going to accumulate alone, if you put it on a fixed deposit and you get in 2%, and then, so the money becomes like free money, so you can just put it in the bank. Leave it there, let it accumulate. When the loan is due, you pay off the loan with the capital and the profit, the interest is yours. But the Labour Party doesn't understand that type of investment.
Well, you have said it here, they don't know business. And this is how politics is run in the world, governments, as a business. And when the Honorable Alan Shastney said that, they made a big deal out of it. Every country in the world is operating as a business.
Champagne, we have 20 minutes for calls. I think we need to start taking
We have
calls.
any more pictures? Any more photos?
No, I'm not covering a lot of the stuff tonight. I said I wanted to go a bit easy tonight. I'm coming out of the Easter.
But the gloves are off and we have to get deep down into the campaign. We can't afford to. Anyway, St. Lucia, we are turning on our phone lines. If you'd like to call into the program, the WhatsApp is 4850931. I saw a whole lot of WhatsApps calls coming in earlier. Or the landline 4560931. 4850931 or 485.
While we wait in the calls, I want to say good night to all my regular listeners. The crew in Fort Bennett, Ruby and the crew down there, good night to you. Brother Barry in Forest here, good night. Morris James, I know you are listening. All the people I visited today and yesterday who told me they would be following the program, I want to say a special good night to all of you. I want to assure you that we will continue to work and build St. Lucia. That is what you elected us for, and that is what we are going to do. I want to shout out my crew up in the Wavin-Poisson area. Last week, we did a little project up there, a little kind of self-help, but we cooked some food and the fellas worked and we paid everybody a little money for the day. I know they had a good time. We would be having one in the community of Deba hopefully this coming Sunday, if everything works according to plan. You have a call coming in? Yes.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening, Champagne. How are you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good, sir. Good evening to you.
Yeah, Mr. Minister, Honorable Guy Joseph, how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Yeah, this is Ian Cauldron, listening from Delaware, USA.
Wow.
Okay.
You know,
nice to hear from you, Ian. It's been a while, but we miss you.
Yeah, I'll be down there. I'll be home for the election.
Okay.
But I want us to form the next government because, like you said, it's critical that we win this elections for the survival of St. Lucia, bearing in mind how peculiar the global environment is with this whole pandemic. cannot afford to place St. Lucia in the hands of this incompetent Labour Party. When you look at the slate of candidates that they're offering, there's nothing exciting, no new ideas, no new plan. The guys in opposition and they're in total disarray. Could you imagine Champagne that they cannot even fill 17 slate of candidates and in opposition?
You know, just allow me to come in there. You know, I wanted, you know, Philip J. Pierre has been asking that we call the elections. Yeah. And you know, up to now, the fellas cannot fill in a slate of 17 candidates. In fact, I should have congratulated our candidate, our newly endorsed candidate for Castries South, Bertrand Johannes. I want to shout out Johannes, and I'm telling you, I am convinced that the Castries South seat is coming home to the United Workers Party.
I am convinced too, but before I will allow some other callers, but before I end, I want to just remind Senegalusa that we're not going back to the days when, remember the Labour Party stopped the school feeding program that the United Workers Party, and that is to help parents who could not afford to send their children to school with a meal. The government of the UWP assisted them in school to get a meal. The Labour Party came in and they stopped that, and when we came back into office, the UWP had to reinstate that program. So we're not going back there. We're not going back to the days when the Labour Party stopped the school transportation subsidy. Again, a program that the UWP started to assist us. Most of the time, single parent families send their children to school. Remember the NCA scandal? We're not going back there. Up to now, one person was made accountable for that. Taxpayers' money went down the drain. You remember that, Honorable Guy?
Oh yes, I have the report right here with me. I've dealt quite a bit with it on this program.
We're not going back to the days of, remember the HLNIC after the HLNI scandal?
Oh,
Gave away St. Lucia's property in New York. Remember that? So we're not going back there. Remember the HLNI affair?
Oh yeah, and the three senators were fired.
And the three senators were fired. And remember, there was a prominent government minister who they said was a shareholder of LNA. Remember that, right?
Yep.
Remember 361 when Kenny Anthony passed a law 36 when the Labour Party talking about the United Workers Party stifling freedom of speech. Which government made it a law that freedom of speech would have been stifled or would have been suppressed? It was the Kenny Anthony government. Remember 361, right?
And not just suppressed, you know. I mean, you could not speak about things pertaining in anything they considered that was government interest. I mean, you look at the laws, because that was a very strange law that they had passed with 361. That you could not read, because it was really geared so that you could not criticize them in government, you know. And they said it was in the public interest.
Exactly. Remember when the Labour Party won the elections in 1997? They went to Babono at the convention and they tabled a motion for affirmative action. Remember?
Yes.
Where only SLP supporters will get employment in St. Lucia. Remember that?
Yeah. I remember that. I was there. So I remember that.
And it was Tom Walken who was the one who brought that resolution to the table, and it was voted unanimously that only Labour Party people will get work. And you know the scary thing about it is, history is repeating itself, because you hear the operatives they had, the Labour Party had say that when they get in office, who they going to fire, who they going to target. They're already threatening that they're going to close down Sky FM when they get into office.
They have said that. Ian, I want to give you another minute because we have some more calls coming in.
So I'm appealing to my Senegal people. This government, the European government, has done a tremendous job all over the world. The because of the coronavirus, the COVID pandemic, countries are feeling the pinch and they have to borrow. But this Prime Minister, in the name of Alan Michael Chastney, he has managed the economy well, bearing in mind the global pandemic that we face. The employment situation is not that bad. The country is moving. You have a lot of projects ongoing. And St. Lucia is in safer hands with the UWP.
Amen to that,
And Honorable Guy Joseph, I'll be home with you guys to ensure that we get another term in office.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
we miss you. And all the best.
Have a good one.
Good night.
Have a good night. Beautiful. Hello, good evening. Hello, good night.
Good night, gentlemen.
Good night to you, sir.
Something, the first part of the show before the calls, I call it economics made simple.
Okay. Okay.
I call it economics made simple. And Honorable Minister, the analogy you use about the coconut tree, if a man cannot climb a coconut tree, he would have to get a helicopter. But he already have much money, he can buy a helicopter. The best thing he would do is to cut
down the coconut tree, and that's exactly what the Labour Party did. Let me give you the bell on that, caller. Let me give you the bell on that.
And then, when you cut down that coconut tree, you eat the coconut, you cannot get no more coconut from it.
That's it. That's the end.
You have to then cut another one, you know.
That's it. That's it.
People must understand. If you notice, the Labour Party mantra is putting you first. You notice that? That's all what they say. We'll put you first. They cannot come up with nothing else.
That's it.
Because they have no vision, they have no plan. That's all what they can say. We'll put you first. First in what?
Exactly. How you putting me first?
In what?
If there's nothing, there's not. Whether I'm first or I'm last. If the plate empty already.
It's empty.
If you come with an empty bucket of juice, there's no juice in the bucket, and you put me first on the line, I get in juice.
But if you come with the empty bucket, there's no juice in it in the first place.
Another fundamental we're missing, the zero. You remember the time of the 000? That's what they offered the public servants. And you remember what they took for themselves? What percentage of it they took for themselves?
Yes,
I think they could not afford to give civil servants nothing, but they could. I think it was 80% or something close to between 80 and 100%. Civil servants must remember these things.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, caller, I love the analogy, what you use as the cutting down of the coconut tree. Super. Thank you, my friend. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Minister. Good evening, Champagne.
Good evening to you.
Another good night of good topics, but I would like to add my piece.
Okay.
Mr. Minister, I'm somebody, I love politics.
Okay.
I love politics. I take politics serious. I see politics as life and death in a country. Life and death meaning that good governance, you get good life. Bad governance, you get deaths.
Oh, yes.
Hunger, poverty, with bad governance. And I would like to say to St. Lucians, imagine when Kenny Anthony did that interview with J.D. Japierre again, God was so good that it happened at the end of his term.
Yep.
And Philip Japierre now is telling us that he cannot borrow. In the beginning of his term, he haven't even won the election yet.
He wouldn't be able to borrow.
So if we elect these people and put them there, you cannot borrow. You have already said that whatever project the government have that is ongoing, you are going to stop it. The country, the tourism is down because of the COVID. What will we do when these fellas come inside of there and we know that statistics shows that SLP have been performing poorly?
You are very right, caller.
What will we do?
Well, he already told us. He already told us that he will not be able to borrow. So listen to me, caller. The man alerted us. The man said to us he will not be able to borrow money. So he's giving us now the choice.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
He said it to us. So right now, we have to make that decision on our own whether or not we should put these fellas inside of there.
Okay.
Maybe
thing.
he'll have a little factory that can make some money because if you can't borrow, he'll have to make.
Yes, Mr. Minister, and I am thinking again, if these fellas come inside there, I am thinking of our EC dollar. What could be happening to that dollar? We could lose that dollar because of SLP poor governance. We could lose that dollar. St. Lucia could come out of that link with the OECS, with the EC dollar.
Well, we are the largest. Remember, the Labour Party, we became the largest economy in the OECS under UWP government. It used to be Antigua that was the leading economy in the use of the EC dollar. St. Lucia is now the largest economy in the OECS. If we are not performing up to par, it has implications for the value of the EC dollar.
Yes,
that is where the problem is.
Okay.
Yes, and I am worried about a lot of people probably just talking politics, but I am sure they haven't thought of that as yet. We could take blows under that 5-year term with SLP, with our dollar.
All
we
right.
could
Well
lose
said,
that for good.
Now, Kola, I know you always
could
make
lose
great
that.
contributions, but I want to give some other people, because we don't have too much phone time tonight, okay?
Okay, Champagne, I'll take that topic on another day
All right,
tomorrow.
darling. Okay, beautiful.
Thank
Thanks
you
a lot.
so much for your call.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening. I forgot to ask the minister two questions. Something I have a concern. People tell me I'm a UWP supporter. Why am I so concerned about the Labour Party?
Why?
I am concerned. I'll tell you why. St. Lucia is my homeland. That's where I live.
That's right.
And God forbid if the Labour Party comes into office, it will have an effect on my life.
Amen.
So I am concerned about what is going on with them.
You're not concerned about them, you're concerned about the country.
Caller, we need a good alternative government.
That is
because
what I'm saying.
when you don't have opposition, you become complacent.
You understand? That is what I'm saying. That's why
But
I'm
not these
concerned.
guys.
Another question, Minister. What's your flag? What's the highlight in your as a parliamentary rep? What's your hallmark? What do you look at?
In terms of
Your representation of the constituency. What's the highlight of your term as a representative?
my highlight is how I change the lives of the ordinary people. I am not one who goes and brag about big projects here and there. I am a grassroots politician, and I touch the lives of the grassroots people in the constituency. That's where I find the greatest joy. You see, the man who can take care of himself, that's not my biggest concern. My biggest concern is to bring the average constituent to a level of comfort and that is why if you look at the projects that I have undertaken in the constituency, I have gone in places that no other rep before me have gone to do things in the constituency.
That is true.
And if you look at my interview with Dale, that is where I pride myself on changing the lives of the people one by one.
Yes.
Now, I ask this question, Champagne, ask this question to clear the air. I don't remember if you recall, just recently I called and I said, if you ask the Honorable Guy Joseph, what is the highlight of it, he'll tell you to touching and changing the lives of the people in his constituency.
And that's what he just said.
And he's just there for 3 terms. The leader of the opposition is there for more than him. And what was his highlight, Champagne?
To destroy
President Mandela.
Yes. And his highlight was he walked
you
with...
see that, you see the difference?
Yeah.
A longer serving politician as a rep. Here his highlights. And just look at the difference between the two.
Yeah.
I hope people are taking note of these things.
Yes. All right, caller. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
You see, Champagne, when I'm able to visit a constituent and I see the condition in which they're living, and I can help them build a better house, and tomorrow I pass there. Nobody don't have to know I help them build a house.
That's right.
But when I pass there, I find a joy in my heart when I look at this place and I know that these families sleep better at nights.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening to you, sir.
Mr. Champagne, good night.
Good night to you, sir. Hello.
Honorable Joseph, good night to you.
Good night.
Okay, I got two questions to, actually not two, but maybe, but anyway, let's go. I would like to say good night to you and your entire family, especially Righties. I haven't heard from him about 2 years now.
Okay.
So
He's doing well, much better than how he was before.
okay, I'm happy to hear that. In my book, I'm already giving you about 300%. You still have a balance of 700% for coming for the next 10 years. I know, because I know you'll be there for the next 10 years. You have done so much in your constituency, and not only in your constituency, in St. Lucia entirely. But what I would like you to look at or pay some interest is whenever sometimes there are 2 free deaths or 3 funerals at the Latuni Funeral Home or the Latuni Cemetery, and it is a mess. There is no parking space. So I would like you to consider, if you or the government, whoever is in charge, consider putting a parking lot in that area.
Okay.
Okay?
You are right about that, caller. I have been to quite a few funerals down there. And maybe I can speak to the people down there and see who's in charge of that land adjacent to Rambali's funeral parlor down there, and see how we can clear up, at least if we clear up the area there where you can accommodate a few more rows of vehicles, I think it would help the situation. Because it's usually a nightmare down there.
Yeah, that would be very good. There are so many things that I have to say, but I cannot talk about anything tonight besides that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Lady who talked about, I love this lady so much. I wish she would call every time. I'm not sure, even you. Because every time she always makes some valid, interesting points.
That's right.
And I love her for that.
All right.
But anyway, incidentally, Honorable, I'm calling from St. Croix, but my heart is in St. Lucia.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks a lot, Brother Gaines. Have a good night.
Thank you for the time that
Yes.
on your airways, that time.
Okay.
All right. Have a good night. Thanks a lot. Hello. Good evening. Hello. Good evening.
Hello.
Good night. Hello.
Good night, Champion.
Good night to you.
Good night.
I think that the Labour Party should forget about that youth economy and call it Guamon economy. Secondly, that you would see the Labour Party candidates going around speaking about wearing a mask, etc. And then in a video circulating today, you would see Jeremiah Norbert without a mask, having fun in Martinique and everything. And then that's the same person you expect to represent us. Okay, one person asked what exactly that Pierre did in Marshall and Castries East for 25 years. I don't know what to reply to that. It is that the police station, because I see nothing he has done.
The police station?
Yeah. And then you would see him standing inside faulty drains, etc. And I mean, come on, you have been there for 25 years.
Yeah. Nothing, caller. Absolutely nothing.
I was Minister for Communications and Works for 5 years, and I think I did more work in Castries East than Philip J. Pierre did for his 25 years in Castries East.
Absolutely.
That's right.
And the next thing St. Lucians should know that if SLP wins the next election, which they wouldn't, they will not kapakai it.
They know that.
So Lucians should think about everything SLP has done. Okay? And they would just eat rocks because, I mean, things will be so hard.
Yeah. All right, caller, you sound like you're a very young person, so keep the faith, okay?
No, my voice is just small.
Oh, it's your small voice. Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, caller. Have a good night.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. Good evening to you. Hello?
Yes, good evening, champion.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, I just want to big up Guy Joseph, man. Guy Joseph has been the greatest representative we have in Southeast Castries.
Thank you.
And I'm calling from the Fromage area, and I'm very proud. My name is Michael Lynch. I think he knows me personally.
Okay.
I'm very proud that he gave us a very good road in Fromage, and he gave us a very good walkway on the bridge as well. So I just want to thank him for that, and I want to big him up, man. He's one of the best we have ever had in St.
That's right. So you want me to ring the bell?
Yes, man, of course. Big up to Guy Joseph, man.
Yes.
And everybody's talking about, I have heard people on the ground says that even if UWP lose the election, Guy Joseph is one person that can never lose
That is for sure.
South Castries
East.
East.
Yes.
And I second that. I really believe that.
Yes.
Thank you very much,
Thanks a lot.
Mr. Minister.
All right.
Thank you very
checking
much
for
for
us.
the vote of confidence,
Of course.
Mr. Lynch. I appreciate that
God bless,
very
man.
much. Thank
All right,
you.
caller. But, Mr. Minister, the youth economy, has the Labour Party provided the young people with a plan for that youth economy? No, seriously.
That's just...
No, we know it's all talk, but has they provided something so the young people can see
But you can't provide what is
what
not
you don't
there.
have? Okay. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Good evening, champion.
Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Guru Minister.
Good evening.
Mr. Minister, if a man tells me if you put me in there, I wouldn't be able to do that for you. Why would I put you in there?
Said he wouldn't be able to borrow.
Why would I put you in there?
Yeah.
Come on, man, not even Osmo would do that.
Nobody would do that. Nobody.
And then he's telling me indirectly or directly, matter of fact, that if they get it, most likely the EC dollar will devalue.
It's like you're interested in a young lady. She lives all alone, but she is really struggling. And you say to her, I could come to live with you, but I will not be able to pay the light bill. That's exactly what this man said. So why would the young lady accept you in the house? You cannot pay a light bill. Why would you go in there? She wouldn't accept you in there. And this is what the opposition leader said. I will not be able to borrow any money. Why should we have you as Prime Minister?
So why should it be a question who to vote for?
So, caller, let me say here. I don't have a problem if a man says he cannot borrow and he tells me where he will get it from. So if he has
a machine,
some grandfather who will give him a few billions,
yes,
tell me. I mean, you cannot be vying to be the leader of a country and you are not telling us how you are going to manage the economy. When Prime Minister Alan Chasney was leader of the United Workers' Party, he said once we get in 3 years, he's going to turn around the economy and put St. Lucia on the right path. And he did it before 3 years. So clearly, that is what we have to look at today. What we are comparing with what? What is Philip J. Pierre's track record of performance? Go to his constituency. Because even the Bible says, if you are faithful in little things, I will make you ruler over many things. If you cannot be faithful in representing, and faithful means bringing results, from representing Castries East, what is it you are going to do with the country? That is what St. Lucians must ask
understand
themselves.
Yeah.
Everybody who's going to go and vote. I don't mind you support your party. You can support your party. But understand that your Labour Party cannot give you what you want.
Now, Mr. Minister, I heard you say that we need opposition. Yes, we need opposition, but not those guys.
Well,
and he said that as well.
But that's what I've been saying. I've been saying you want an opposition that gives you an option. So that if a government messes up or is not doing what they are supposed to do, that you have a fallback position. We don't have a fallback position in St. Lucia. We have a set of men and women who have failed in every endeavor. How many of them that was in government? From the slate of candidates that they have, how many of them was in government? What did they do?
There's a need for a new party in St. Lucia. These guys need to
they need to discard. You need a new Labour Party. Because it's two parties we've had in St. Lucia. UWP and Labour Party. These fellas that are there, they've tried everything and they have failed.
They're about to lose. They're about to lose, Mr. Minister.
Yes, but caller, people must know. Listen to this. People must know their capabilities. I should know what I can do and what I cannot do. I know I can't go to the hospital and perform an operation.
True.
If you give me an excavator to operate, I know I can do something with it. If you give me a loader, I know you give me a backhoe, I know I can do something. But if you give me a plane and you tell me, I know I don't know where to start. So I know my capabilities.
Exactly.
The problem we have with the Labour Party is they don't even know that they are not capable. They think they can, but they just cannot. They don't have it. And I don't know what St. Lucians see in those who want to vote for the Labour Party. What is your expectation? A fairy godmother will come and touch them with a wand and then change them around, and all of a sudden they'll be able to run the country. That's a fairy tale. That's once upon a time. That's not happening.
Mr. Minister, I was listening to a little clip with Bill Elliott and Kenny Anthony. They promised to open St. Jude's a combined total between Kenny and has been around 11 times. 11 times. Could you imagine that? 11 times they promised the people of St. Lucia they're going to open St. Jude's. And St. Jude's wasn't even off the ground. And they give, all they do is give St. Lucia stores to hold. That party needs to be closed down.
Yeah. All right, Cole, I'll give you another minute.
In any other country, those guys would not be in politics.
That is for
they
sure.
would not be in politics. All right.
All right. Thanks a lot, caller. Have a good one. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
How are you, Brother Champagne?
I'm doing good, thank God.
I'm your guest, Mr. Joseph.
Good evening.
Champagne, just before I start, there is somebody which one of our stalwart of that party is at the hospital.
Yes, Mr. Baba.
And that is Mr. Vaval.
Yes, I made mention of that today.
Mr. Vaval, as we know, has had been in that party from even when that party did not even have a name. He has been in that party.
Oh yes, that's a gentleman that I have a lot of regard and respect for.
And if you go to the history list of Mr. Vaval, like Mr. Vaval has been the backbone of Honorable Stevenson King at one time, and he has never give up with his party. So he's present at hospital. I was told his stroke is attacking him, and then he's not doing that good. So I think some people, we have to check on him, and we cannot let our people down, like this. But then briefly, Mr. Minister, I know as always you have all the questions for them, and they cannot challenge you. And up to now, and you have had your past with them. They have been deliberately, when they were in government, neglecting the constituency you represent, so that you would lose faith of your people. And very nicely that the people have been stand with you. and the people has never turned back and give up on you. In this constituency of Milkwood South as well, there's no challenge there in terms of somebody, would come and win. So the Prime Minister is pretty strong here as well. And then, like I'm saying, the evidence is on the ground, and this election will determine as to who is lying and who is who. Because if you have not anything, you have neglecting your constituency, in fact, your country at large, you can't expect people to come and just vote for you, and it is important. So then, so the question of whether the United Workers' Party will lose or whatever, that is not on the card.
No,
I think it has to be with it has to deal with the Labour Party, because they have not delivered, and they know for the fact that they have not done anything to satisfy the people of this country, and that is why they have seen all signs have been showing to them that they're not going to win the election. If they are prepared to do anything, but we just cannot take it for granted.
We have to go out and vote, caller.
I think, caller, the discussion has been, apart from our 11 seats that we have there, how many more we will win. That has been, this is the discussion that is taking place in all circles, that the contention is not about we losing our seats, it's about how many we'll take from what they have there.
Yeah, and the number is 6.
And I know for sure
that's 6.
We cannot turn our back on the fort. Not for sure. I know for sure this time around, that is one that is not going to stay the way it is. That is going out.
But caller, with all that said, we must go out and vote to make it real. Okay, to make it official, we must go out and vote.
Well, definitely, Brother Champagne. I told you the last time, one of the reasons why the Labour Party win election in St. Lucia is when the United Workers' Party people don't turn out for a vote.
Yes,
and that is the only way that Labour Party can win election. But if our people turn out and vote,
yes,
we for sure we know that we in the driver's seat. I mean, the 11 will remain where it is, and then we need to grab a few so that they could at least maybe have. Maybe they could have one or two opposing parliament, but then but the best option that we have to do, make sure that we turn out and we're monitoring what is happening. We cannot take it for granted, relax, and just believe that it will just be like that.
All right,
so
brother.
Have a blessed evening and take care.
All right, thanks a lot. Have a good night. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Hello. Good night.
Good night, sir.
Yeah, something. Let me make a prediction again. 12-5. 12-5.
Yeah.
And anything after that is bonus.
So how many bonuses you think?
I don't know. I tell you 12-5.
Okay, all right.
And anything after that is bonus.
All right. Okay.
And Mr. Minister, there's a lady who visited from the United States, but she lived in Capitol Hill for a long time. All her youth days we live in Capitol Hill, but she migrated to the States. She saw the house that was built, and she told me this young lady was her close friend, and she has always had on her mind what could be done. And she told me to tell you a big thank you for what you did for that lady.
Oh, no problem at all.
Okay?
Okay.
She told me to tell you thank you so very much, because she was really concerned.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, caller. Have a good night. All right. Hello, good evening. Hello.
Hello, good night, Castries.
Castries is in the house. Good night to you, Castries.
Good night, Mr. Guy.
Good night.
Well, I will tell you to put the book back.
Thank you.
Don't forget, we have
Fortuna Bellows is already in. You're breaking up slightly, though, caller.
No, I said. His Fortuna Barrows coming up hard behind Guy Joseph. So we have two back between the house.
That's
okay.
Okay, that's right. All right.
All right.
Okay. You have a place like that.
Thanks a lot. You as well. Beautiful. Okay. A beautiful evening to you. Hello.
Yes. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening, sir.
I'd like a suggestion, and my suggestion is that just to make sure that the program that the government has in place remains and that it can continue, maybe the government needs to meet with the opposition and then ask the opposition what is it that they would like for their constituency, and that the government tries their best to meet it, and that the opposition allows the government to remain in power. So that way, the opposition can get to give the constituency what it is that they need, and then the opposition allows the government to remain in power.
Okay.
How possible it is, it may sound silly, but I think that's what should happen, because the program that the government has going on should not be interrupted. Thank you.
I agree, caller. Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Beautiful.
caller, but our constitution does not allow it to
that way. Yes. Hello, good evening from New York. Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, how you doing?
Good evening, Champagne. Good evening, Mr. Guy Joseph.
Good evening to you. Thank you.
Why you look so calm and down, Mr. Guy Joseph? You got this.
What's that?
She said, why you look so calm and
I said you look so calm and down.
Oh, no, I'm all right. I'm okay.
Okay. What I want to say tonight is I've been listening to you with all those facts and all those accurate numbers. And why is it that the Labour Party not coming out and challenge you about the facts that you're giving?
Well, you cannot challenge what is factual. You can challenge what's factual, but it will prove that you are wrong.
So why is it that you're not coming out and saying that whatever you're saying is a lie and prove that it's a lie?
Well, it's not a lie. It's the facts. That's what he's saying.
Yep, but they're out there. They're out there saying that whatever you're saying is not true.
Well, I come with documents to say what I have to say. I am not the kind of person. I don't have time to make up stories. If I have to make up lies to win election, then I don't want to win elections. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
Kola, he has been putting out a challenge to them for the last 15 years. Putting out a challenge to debate. And they have never taken it up.
For so long.
Yeah, he has been challenging them.
And none of them, especially Philip J. Pierre, cannot come out at him and say, listen, this is what I have, this is my proof, you're lying, this is what it is.
Exactly. Exactly.
But anyway, can I tell you something to go with?
Sure.
Why is it that, it might sound like a comedy, why is it that Alan Shastney, the Prime Minister Alan Shastney, is glowing like this with such beauty, and Philip J. Pierre looks like he's about to drop?
That's a good question, Kola. I don't know if the honorable guy could answer that.
I will not try to.
I'm not asking him to, I'm not telling him he has to answer. It's just an observation.
So what do you think?
Because I've always heard when you do good, it shows in your face.
Amen.
When you do bad, it shows in your face.
And that is the answer.
Have a good night, guys.
Thanks a lot, Kola. Thanks a lot. Beautiful.
When you are genuine, and we have a genuine person in Prime Minister Alan Shastney.
Yes.
You could not have a bet. With him, what you see is what you get.
That is right.
He is not a make-believe kind of person.
Yeah.
He's a real leader.
Hello, good evening. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you.
Yeah, but Minister Guy,
Hello.
good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, I just want to send a message to the Labour Party through your medium.
They are regular listeners. I know all of them are listening tonight, so your message will definitely get across.
When I want them to know that when they insult one Indian, they insult every Indian on this island.
That's right.
I want them to know that we don't, even if we are vexed with one another, we support one another. We will never allow anybody to take advantage on any one of us. None of us will allow anybody to take advantage of us. So they better be careful with the insults, and they better recognize that the fact that Indians don't hate each other.
That is strong, Kola.
So,
strong message.
You have to be careful.
Yeah. All right, that's it.
Caller, what I want to say on this is I've never known politics in St. Lucia to be politics of race. And it is evident.
Of race, never.
It is evident that the Labour Party is attacking on this line because they have nothing else to do. And I will actually flash some of the messages that are posted on social media on the screen to show you the conversations that supporters of the Labour Party are having. I mean, I have been approached by people, and when I hear the things that some of the Labour Party candidates have been saying about me, not about me just as Guy Joseph, but because I am Indian. I didn't choose who my mother and father was,
exactly.
and I wouldn't trade who I am for anything.
Amen.
I am proud of who God made me to be. If you ask me if I wanted to be 5 inches taller, I don't think I would be Guy Joseph if I was 5 inches taller.
Exactly.
God made me the way that He gave me the parents that I needed to have. I am who I am because that is who God made me. And that is why I never see people in relation to their race or to say this one is Indian and this one is Negro and this one. So I say, so what would they say about my wife? And I always say that to them. So if you going to attack me on this, I mean, for a party that wants to form a government in a country, you're already attacking the Prime Minister because of who his parents are.
And his skin color. Yeah.
And his skin color. Now you are attacking me because of the texture of my hair.
Yeah, ridiculous.
And you're going to make statements. I mean, when you have candidates going around and ask, how can you vote for him because he's an Indian?
Can you believe
I mean, if you want to highlight that I didn't do this and I didn't do that and I'm not fit to be a representative, I can understand that.
So what
but
was
to go and talk about my race and I mean, my parents are as much St. Lucian as anybody else.
Yeah. Well, they had a couple Indians in their party. Cecily is Indian, Carl Daniel is Indian, then there are many more. Anyway, caller, you have a good night.
But who was Menisa?
Exactly.
Menisa Rambali.
Carl Daniel was a UWP. And in any
you run
case,
for Labour too?
Minister.
No, but who? I mean, Menisa Rambali.
Yes. Thanks a lot, caller.
Yes, but just one more thing. Hello?
Go ahead, caller.
Yeah, just one more thing. I want the minister to know that regardless of in the last election, Dr. Anthony did in fact say on his platform that he would do everything within his power to ensure that Guy Joseph does not return to Parliament.
Yes, he did say that. You're
and
right.
He saw. Yeah, and he could see Guy Joseph is in Parliament, and Guy Joseph will remain in Parliament.
And let me tell you, caller,
he might get out.
They spend quite a few.
And PPA, just to finish off, PPA is a custom of insulting people. He insults Fede as much as he could in the last election, calling him little boy and short boy and short man and all kinds of
names,
things, Guyanese and all kinds of things.
All kinds of names.
These guys, this is the kind of politics that they run.
Yeah.
I hope they understand that this does not work in St. Lucia.
And the people are listening.
This does not work.
Yeah.
Yes, once you resort to that kind of politics, to attack people in that manner. I mean, they've attacked my family, they have attacked my wife, the things that the Labour Party has. The families, I respect their families, I don't bring their family. It's not that I don't know things that I can say. But at the end of the day, politics goes beyond that. We are human beings. And if I am not fit, point out what I'm not doing in the constituency or what you will do better than me. But to resort to calling names about who is Indian and who is Negro and who is black and who is white. I mean, I was reading that thing and I said, so because my wife and I, we were reading, and I'm saying, but look at what is posted about me. I'm not voting him because he's Indian. I'm voting
so crazy,
black.
Man. That's very ridiculous. Huh? Very ridiculous.
Because
it's ridiculous.
It is the message that the Labour Party is sending out.
Yeah.
Why would we want to have racial discrimination in a small country? We've been peaceful.
Yeah.
The Labour Party is a party of violence, is a party of destruction, and when they cannot, so if they saw signs of winning the election, they would not resort to that.
That's right.
So they go in personal
That's
attacks.
right.
They try and label you. All I've been challenging them on is their representation, their ability to govern the country, to show that they've not been able to do it.
Yeah. All right, caller, we'll have to end it there. Thanks a lot.
Okay. Yes,
all right, beautiful.
Take
Have a
care,
good
all the
night.
best.
Thanks for holding, caller. Sorry about that. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
But don't you also realize you have Ring the Bell have this thing viral, posing a racial thing, nom noir, nom blanc. It's all over the place. This morning, Andre played that.
Played what?
Something Ring the Bell have. If I vote by PS, nom noir, c'est nom blanc, kikabali, and all those kind of things.
I have not seen that, caller. I don't know of
It's
that.
viral and it's all over the place. Up to this morning, it was spread. So you cannot. You have to say it on both sides. That's I just tell you that. But the reason I call, I would like to ask the minister. Concerning St. Jude's. In 2017, you had a technical report. And it's 5 years now. After a day like today, nobody has really seen about that technical report. So they could have known what was the issues with the hospital in order to justify the new hospital, 4-level hospital that you are building. I mean, when you do report, you say you're going to spend money on reports, so much money. At least the people should have at least have an answer as to why. At no time the report ever came out. It is 5 years later.
So who said the report?
There a report?
My dear.
Why didn't you show it?
My dear, the report, everything has been leaked in government. You've never seen the report?
You are supposed to call a press conference.
No, so let me say to you, when a report is commissioned, the report goes to the permanent secretary, who's the chief accounting officer in the ministry. And the decisions that are made on the St. Jude that is being built is based on the report that was received, what was not good. Because as ministers, we make recommendations. At the end of the day, the accounting officer in the ministry is the permanent secretary. And I know that while I would receive a copy of a report, and we have the report, we have the final report, and hold on, the report is being used to guide us in decision making in terms of where we are going with St. Jude and what we are doing. So it was not a report that was just commissioned. And it is interesting that you would call and you would say that we spent $1 million. And well, we spent money. We did not spend $1 million on a report. But let's be fair in our discussion. $3 million was spent to investigate me. How many times have you heard me ask for that report?
I've heard you ask for the report.
Okay. And you don't think that it's appropriate that those who receive the report, which cost $3 million, that have implications for my reputation, should be released?
Yes, I think it should be released.
Have you ever asked for it?
I did not hear that. But if they did,
no. We having a frank conversation.
Yes.
Have you ever asked for that report?
Once public money is spent for any report, any commission, it should be put out there for the public. Because at the end of the day, it's the people's money that is...
Yeah, but he's asking you, and Dr. Anthony have been on a lot of programs, and I know some of them you listen to. Have you asked Dr. Anthony about the report?
You think it's all program you can get through when you want to make a call. Sometimes you just cannot get through.
Okay,
That's how many
caller.
times I've
So,
been trying to get through. And I don't get through. But
I suspect that, and caller, I have no issues with what you are asking there. Once permission is granted to table the report before Parliament, it will be tabled. So, because you see, there are lots of things that happens. That's not the only report that Dr. Anthony commissioned. You remember the town and village report that was not validated? You remember the impacts report that he came, because you have to understand that there are certain implications. So if you're going to take legal
reports right now, I think the GPP is supposed to be coming out there now and playing his part too.
So no, but you asked me about the report, and I'm telling you, if you are going to take legal action in any report that you have, and you make the report part of the public document before, then and there's too much discussion, then the jurisdiction is too small to be able. So apart from the technical report that was done, so I'm explaining to you what happened. All we did was a technical audit. A technical audit to tell us what the defects were with the building, what we could fix, what needed to change. Following that, it was discovered that there were lots of things that was unaccounted for. So outside of the technical audit, which was, you cannot take legal action purely on a technical audit. So the monies that was spent, how it was spent, the processes that they followed, the legal requirements of DCA approval and all of these things, these are going through a forensic audit that is being done to make the because unless you can establish that funds were misappropriated, because they could have built any junk for us once it was not challenged, once there was not misappropriation of funds. So whether the hospital was 2 by 4 in size, or whether it was suitable or not, if anything inappropriate was not done, your ability to take legal action is limited.
So can you say now what you all are doing there now? You can honestly say there is no misappropriation of money. Everything is being done through by the books, so that if in case you'll not happen today, another technical audit or report.
So let me tell you what we did.
Commission.
So let me tell you what we did. We went to Parliament and we passed a new piece of legislation that removed any statutes of limitations on ministers. So if I misappropriated $1 on St. Jude as minister, and I am out of government 20 years from now, they can still take legal action against me. That is the law that was passed by a United Workers' Party government. That is why we have to be more careful in our style of governance than any Labour Party, because with the Labour Party, when they were there, all the things they did, because there are statutes of limitations that if after a certain number of years, so in the case of the vehicle with Ernest Healy, if it had reached a certain point before action was taken, then you could not have taken action, because the transaction would have happened prior to that law being passed, and you cannot make the law apply to something retroactively. So if we did things, we will account for it. So you are asking me to account for things that is not even completed yet, but you are not dealing with the things that are completed. That is where I have the issue.
What is it completed? Because That's the thing.
But we are building St. Jude.
St. Lucia, all of you just do things and you just get away with doing all sorts of things.
We don't just do. I don't get away. You see, I look like a minister that can get away. Hold on. You see, among the ministers who get away with things, I'm not one.
United States and those places, they will put laws in place.
But he just told you
But
there's a law.
I just told you we put laws in place.
He just told you.
Will be true, but not here in St. Lucia.
But caller, I spent 5 years in government, and a new government came in and they spent 5 years investigating me. I begged for the report to be released for St. Lucians. You want to call me and ask me about a report for St. Jude, which is a technical report.
But I have to ask you that because since
yes,
spend for technical audit, I as a St. Lucian have a right to ask you questions.
But
me, I don't have time to kiss butts of any politician.
But you have a right to ask Dr. Anthony the report.
I don't kiss butts.
All right, caller. All right, thanks a lot, caller. Have a good evening.
But you see, that's the level. So you will call me and ask me about St. Jude report, which is a technical report, but you will never call and ask, telling me, hold on, caller.
Go ahead.
This last caller is saying, oh, people, we do things and we get away with it. The Labour Party spent 5 years investigating me. I'm begging them. They got the best forensic auditor they could find in the world. Paid him over $1,000 an hour for 3 or 4 years investigating me, and they're afraid to release the report. And I'll sit here and accept from a caller that we do things. If I did anything, I would not be seated here today.
That's right. Based on from the Labour Party
and
standard.
I'm proud to say I didn't need an audit report to tell me that. I know that I didn't do things.
That's right. Thanks for holding, caller. Good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi. Good night, Mr. Champagne. Good night, Minister.
Good night.
Good night.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay. Don't be upset. Okay.
I'm not upset.
No, I'm not saying you're upset. I'm not saying do not be upset.
Okay.
I just say that. Okay. Just be cool. Let the Lord work. Okay.
All right.
Everything is in the hands of the Almighty.
Amen.
He's in control.
Amen.
All right.
All right.
What I called tonight is to thank you for the beautiful road you did for us at Therefore.
Okay.
And I would like to thank you.
Which one of them? Capitol Hill or Chef Harry Drive?
Capitol Hill.
Okay.
And all around my area by the church.
All right.
And one going to the lower concrete road. But you all didn't do the PC. All say it's concrete. It's good. And the piece by me, they said that it was good, so they did not do it. But I'm thankful for what you all, what you have done for the community. And I also would like to see you concerning something, okay? I'm not going to discuss it on the air.
No,
I have to discuss it with you.
All right.
Okay?
All
So
right.
Champagne,
Yes, do.
remind them, Minister.
I will do that.
Tell him the lady...
The lady from Capitol Hill.
No, not from Capitol. I live by the church. By the church.
Okay.
It's
All
by the
right.
church. I live
Beautiful.
in the bottom concrete road.
Okay.
Guy knows the road.
All right.
Because
I know the area. Going down this steep hill by the little church down in the bottom. There.
That's right. So
Okay.
I'm living before the little church. I live behind the little church
All right.
before the church in the bottom.
I'll
So
come,
when
I'll
you
come and visit you.
I come and visit me, and then when you come, you can say ask for Sister St. Rose.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, caller.
Be good.
Thank
and
you.
God is good.
Always.
And He's in control. No man is in control. God is in control.
Amen.
Okay?
All right.
So you all have a good night.
And to you as well.
Yes.
All right. Beautiful.
All
Hello.
right.
Good evening.
So Champagne, we've gone way over time.
Hello,
We need
good
to
evening.
end.
Hello.
However, last election, we won the Labour Party. Between it.
Hold on a minute, caller. Hold on.
You have two callers, Champagne.
Hello. Go ahead, caller.
Okay. So this election coming, I am hoping that we give them a licking between 18 and 20,000. But the most intriguing thing again, I have heard, and I'm not the only one that I've been hearing, that the Labour Party has been saying that they will do anything in their powers to win this election that is coming there. So my say to you is that I'm hoping that your guys look for what they call the chair UWP. The main guys that your guys believe in, you have confidence in, to put in every polling station. So when this box is going to be checked, wherever it has to be checked, that this box is handcuffed in their hands. So no boxes could be thrown in the river or underneath the bridge or anywhere else.
Caller, the Labour Party is not the only political party. There are two. So the same things they know, we know.
Well, let us hope everything work out the right way, because I am looking forward for. I've been hearing you all saying 20 not, but I say we will take 4 more seats in whatever they have and give them 2.
Okay, all right.
We'll give them Labrie and Beaufort South.
Okay, if you say so. All right, caller. Thanks a lot. Have a good evening. I missed that one. One more call, 2 more calls. We could go on and on.
One more. That's the last
That's
call.
the last one?
Yes.
All right. Caller, you're the last call for the evening. Good evening.
Well, if I didn't get that line out right.
Well, you barely made it.
How is it, my minister?
I'm good.
How's the family?
Good, good.
Okay. Congratulations on how you handled the lady.
Okay, thank you.
Because she's one of them.
Mm.
She usually call and play smart, you know. Yeah, I like the way you handle him. Handle her.
Mm.
Why don't she call and ask about the other reports?
That's what
you have been talking about on several of your shows. She heard. She didn't. Why she didn't engage you on that?
No, because you know, caller, these people have their own agendas, and I have no problems with that. But don't try and pretend that you are being objective when you're not being objective. That's your party. You support your party. You want to call and put pressure on me. That's why I expose myself by coming on a show. I'm here every Monday night. I don't plan calls. I'm not the kind of person. Whether I go on Rick's show, on Team show, or any show, I don't ask them beforehand, what questions are you going to ask me? I don't stage anything and put people there to call me. I am open.
Right.
I don't think there's anything that comes up that I cannot deal with. Any accusation, anything they have to say, any question they have to ask about what I am doing, I can respond to that. So that's why I'm not afraid of coming on any program and dealing with any subject matter.
But you have told them if they have anything and you take it to the courts.
No,
have they done it?
Not just that. He has challenged them at any town hall meeting, any radio program. He has challenged them.
Yeah. And the other thing, when it comes to the Indians, don't worry with them.
Yeah.
They are the strongest in that is our country.
Scotty, I knew you would call tonight based on that conversation. I know you would call.
As long as it's Indian, I'm going to defend that with every fiber in my body, according to the spider.
Yeah, all right.
Okay, good night.
Thanks
Good
a
night
lot.
to you.
All right, beautiful.
And Champagne, so in closing tonight, I want person.
So the one that's on the line, don't take it. I have one there. Okay, so that's the caller. I said earlier this would be the last, but you're the last. Hello, good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Guy, in the Bebe community, you were going to cast a small road there for us, and this guy came in and he stopped the road.
Yes.
And we've spoken to the commissioner of Crown Lands, and they said the path is there on the map that they can do the road. This guy is just trying to prevent you from getting votes in that area. I'm pretty sure that he was nowhere. All of a sudden, the road have been there. My parents have been living there for over 86 years. And then I know the guys started the road. They put everything on the road. All they need to do is the concrete.
Yes, it's only the concrete we want
to see. And the guy came and stopped it.
Yes. I'm aware of it. I have been told that some permission has been granted, but once there are issues, we have to make sure that we clear everything before So once the permission is granted, we are going to proceed. But when I spoke to the engineer on the project, he did indicate that some arrangement had been made. So most likely we'll be able to complete the road.
We're looking so desperate for that road because I can tell you, you have our full support there. Don't let these guys come in and mess up the road because they're just trying to prevent you from getting votes in that area. You know, Mari, all the people in the area that they are voting for you and they've been loyal to you. So we really need that road there because we have elderly people living there in case of an emergency.
I am aware.
Our grandmother just passed away at 101 and we didn't get the road. So please, if you can continue for us.
All right then, no problem.
All right, Colin.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks a lot. All right, Mr. Minister, that will be it. You sound like you know what the gentleman is talking about,
Yes,
as you know everywhere in your constituency anyway.
I've been there a few times.
Yes, so we have turned off the phone lines, St. Lucia. Thank you very much for the call-in period. Mr. Minister, any last words?
Yes, well, I just want to assure the people of St. Lucia that your government, the United Workers' Party government, will continue to work in the best interest of St. Lucia. We will not be distracted. Champagne, they can threaten to close down 93.1. They can. We've not threatened to close. Look at the number of stations that gives the government leaks every day.
Every day.
Have you ever heard the UWP say we're going to close? We are in government.
Exactly.
I'm the minister granting license for radio stations.
That's right. And you have never denied anyone.
We don't, because it's freedom of expression. You're supposed to do it in a responsible manner. I know that some of those who have expressed themselves, I expect I will get a few more dollars by the time my cases are completed. But at the end of the day, some of them have entered into negotiations.
Can we take that Florida call? We have an overseas call. Is that okay?
Yes, let's take the Florida
so
call.
We'll take an overseas call. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Oh, good night.
Good night.
Hi. Good night. I'm calling from Canada.
Oh, it's
I just
Canada.
want to say you guys are doing a great job. Thank you, Mr. Champagne.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Joseph.
Thank you.
You're doing a wonderful job, and we will continue to support the UWP Workers' Party. And I just want to say that you guys are working for the people, and you all are working for St. Lucia.
Amen.
In spite of this COVID, you all are under stress, under pressure, and you all are very calm, and you're very collective. So do not let the labor people conquer you all. I wish they would come together and shake hands with the UWP Workers' Party for what they've been doing and for the stress that they're under with this COVID going on. But they will not do that. But again, I just want to say congratulations. You all are doing a great job. And I'm praying that God will put the United Workers' Party in that seat. Because I know the labor people, they are trying and they will do anything just so they could get into this seat. It's almost 5 years and they're still fighting with the UWP. This is so sad. I shake my head listening to those people. But I pray God will continue to keep the UWP people and the candidates and the cabinet, that we see them back right in this seat right now.
Amen. How many members of your family are coming down to vote?
Well, you know what? I was down there for the election, last election. I came down and support Francisco Japier. I'm from Bands.
Okay.
And yes, all my entire family are UWPs.
All right, beautiful. All right.
Thank you so much, caller.
Yeah.
Okay, have a great evening.
You too, thank you,
Thanks
and you
a
guys
lot.
are doing a great job.
All right, thank you. All right. So that was the last one.
Yes, so I was saying, Champagne, that we will continue to do what we have promised the people of St. Lucia that we would do. We have a lot of work to do. St. Lucia is on the right track to progress and development. We could not have had a better Prime Minister. And we can do a run through the country and see who are the alternatives that they are giving us. So you start from Grozile. I mean, you come down to Babono, Castries North. They cannot even find a candidate to run against Honorable Stevenson King. Central, they don't have a candidate for Central. I mean, you look at, if we just look at the seats that UWP has presently, you go to Dennery South, you go to Castries Southeast. Who are the alternatives that they are giving us? You go to Mikud North, Mikud South. Then you go to Choiseul. You see a replacement for Bradley in the persons that Labour Party is offering. You see the work that Minister Bradley Felix has done in 5 years, a first time politician. Anybody who came into government for the first time, the volume of work that Minister Bradley has done. And remember, Choiseul is geographically the largest constituency on the island. So when you do something in Lamas, it's not the same as doing something in Dibrel where the whole constituency benefits. You have to touch every pocket of his constituency one by one. Saltibus is as if Saltibus is in another place.
Exactly, you're right. You're right.
Because if you look at Saltibus, the distance between Saltibus and Myers Bridge or PI to La Pointe and these areas,
they're very far apart.
It's a large constituency, and yet still he's been able to do so much. Spider with so many people. Spider has more people in his constituency than maybe almost all the Labour Party constituencies put together. And look at the volume of work he's been able to do. You go to Ancillary, well, Soufrière, we don't even need to talk about Soufrière. No candidate has done as much in the UWP, including myself, has done as much work as Herod has done in Soufrière. You going to change this for what?
Well, for Emma.
You're going to look at ancillary canneries and the work that Minister Fede has been able to do in helping to transform his constituency. I mean, it is clear that the UWP will not lose any of the 11 seats that we have presently.
Clear. I still don't have a problem with the super candidate. I could never get my arms around it. I mean, I know it's closing time, Mr. Minister, but someone ran 2 elections in the north, in Grozile, couldn't do anything up there. There's so many. I mean, for argument's sake, the Human Resource Center sat there for 5 years. The Honorable Spider Montour had it almost completed. It sat there for 5 years. She couldn't put a block. Would leave that and go down to Soufrière and challenge.
But Champagne, for $30,000, the Bexon Park, while Dr. Anthony was giving resources to see to it that I lose the election, he was on the platform saying, the park in Bexon was not for Guy Joseph. How many times would I use the park? The park was for the residents of the community for $30,000. When for the 5 years, the Taiwanese gave $5 million towards projects in Castries Southeast. You could not spend $30,000 to finish a little park in the community for the people of Bexon. And today your candidate will come there and say, we want you to support us.
Can you believe it?
We had started the court and the community center at Sarod. For 5 years, everything stayed there. The steel that was there was rusting. The people cut the steel and go with it. It had to take a UWP government coming back into office to be able. They were not desilting the rivers. It's a little thing they were doing. $1 million for desilting in the whole country.
Can you believe this?
We were spending $1 million to do desilting in Castries Southeast alone. So, I mean, there's no alternate. That's what I'm saying. We don't even have an option outside of the UWP. The Labour Party is not an option.
No, they're not. Definitely not.
They don't have it.
Definitely
They
not.
need to find a new slate of candidates. They need to say, look, we failed. We cannot do the job. Let us allow other people who can do the work to come and do it. And give the people who want to support the Labour Party a choice. Give them an alternative. You have a party, nobody can challenge the leader. Is communists alone you have that? You want to talk about governance in the country. So election coming, you can challenge Prime Minister Chasney by putting your name in the ballot box. But in your own party, nobody can challenge the leader.
No. What he said goes.
I mean, what kind of arrangement is that?
What is
And all the blind leaders of the blind are going along with that as if that's some kind of mantra by which they operate. Democracy is with the United Workers' Party. That's where true democracy is. And that is why St. Lucia develops better under a United Workers'
Every
Party.
time.
So, constituents of Castries Southeast, let's make no mistake. People of St. Lucia, Labour is not an option. We have to send them back and put their house in order, find proper candidates, and then maybe in the next 2-3 elections, they can come and present themselves and say, look here, we are better prepared now to govern.
So you wouldn't keep not a single one of them out of the 6? Which one you think you would keep if you were a Labour Party supporter?
I don't want to say this because it might offend some of my persons, because they would tell you're promoting.
Okay.
So we in the political arena.
So leave that alone.
After the elections,
You
I
give
can
me that
answer
answer.
that
Okay,
question.
beautiful. We leave that
But
alone.
I will not answer that
Okay,
question
great.
before
Leave it
the
alone.
elections.
I agree.
But there are a few people that everything is not bad. But once the majority does not carry, the majority, they just don't have it.
They don't.
I tell you, I am concerned about the well-being of St. Lucia, and I always believe that you need to have good options.
Let me say something, Mr. May. If you have a minister, well, at the time, so then you have an opposition member for Beaufort North, and in the House the man said that there should be no development on the front or the beachfront of Beaufort because he would like his children and his grandchildren to go there and run after Zagaya and Tululu. I mean, what's up there? Where is the future development when someone could tell you he wants to see his kids run and his grandkids run after Zagaya and Tululu and forget about the development? What does that say?
Because these men are not genuine. Because these were the same men who destroyed the habitat of all of the wild species that we had down in Frigate Island. You remember what happened there with the La Paradis project? Where was he? He wasn't there at that time. He didn't know all the boa constrictors and the iguana and
the
all of the
right-breasted
things
thrushes,
and the birds and everything that was in the area. So they did not need preserving. So because there's going to be a development being done by a UWP government, you come in and talk about Tululu and Zagaya. I mean, for a politician in the 21st century, to say, you know, in different places where they need to see, where they see these things in museums.
Yes, it's true. They put them there.
And these same people, when they travel overseas, they pay money to go in museums to see statues and to see skeletons and all of these things. But they'll tell you, oh, you need to preserve that cemetery over there. So why they pay money to go in the museum? So you see, the Labour Party, they are not genuine.
No.
They are not honest. They are fakes. They are made up. They're not genuine in what they are doing. And that's why I'm saying they're not an alternative. So I implore everybody, get yourselves ready. Make sure your ID card is in order. Make sure where you know where you're voting ahead of election day. Because the habit of moving people's names around, because they have operatives who do things for them. So this year you are voting. That's how Minister Ezekiel, they said that he lost. Because a lot of his voters who voted in Balata, their names were spread all over. There were voters who voted for me in Tiroche, Q2, whose names found themselves all the way in Babono, you know.
In Babono?
And they never changed residence. They still live in the same place.
And Babono is not your
That was in 2016. That is what the Labour, that's how the Labour Party operates. They're not fair and genuine. You cannot, they cannot win fair and square.
No.
They have to try and maneuver things in all kinds of ways. St. Lucians, our future is in our hands. If we put Labour, we finish.
We're done.
I implore everybody. If you can't vote for UWP, I don't know what you're going to do, but Labour is not an alternative. Good night, everybody. Until next Monday, inside Castries Southeast.
And you said you don't know if we're going to have Mr.
Most likely, I will inform you during the week because I want to finish that thing on housing. So I will try
to get Mr.
to get it. And I need to give, you know, I went to a nice little hairdressing salon in, I didn't go and do my hair champagne. I went to a nice little hairdressing salon in Deba. And it is so amazing. You know, COVID, in closing, COVID has caused a lot of our people to become entrepreneurs. Instead, so where they were not thinking of starting a little business because of the environment, they have started a little business. You cannot miss it. It's before you climb the hill to the chapel in Deba. So anybody, they have to go and do a manicure and a pedicure, they tell me, I think. I have to go there and do what.
That's on the house, or you have to pay for it?
Now, I always pay my people because they do things. A lot of them want to do things for me for free.
Yeah, but you pay.
But I understand.
That's good. That's good.
There's this lady in Coolitown who does some real top class massages. She goes, she do house calls, she goes to the place, she can come to your workplace, whatever. I mean, I am quite proud of the people for what they are doing. And I was so pleased when I went into that little hairdressing place. And there's also one in Bexon. So, you know, once I start promoting one, I have to try and promote all the others. But the people themselves, they have the skills and they have started other little businesses that even if they have a job, they can do something to augment or to beef up their income. And so if you're in the Badney area or if you're passing in that area, once you go inside that road in Deba, you will get to that salon and you can get something nice.
Also, the KFC is always packed. My goodness, the drive-thru.
Oh yeah, it's doing well. And Champagne, one of these days, I hope I can highlight that young lady, the Mangal lady from the community of Mac, who started that export business in
St. Lucia. I remember you spoke about that before.
Oh yes, I mean, I'm so proud of her. When I saw she's exporting by containers, and what it is doing is buying from the farmers. How can we not support these people? And when we go and do things because it's boosting the agricultural sector, and when you do things to help these people, you had the Labour Party criticizing as if it's for votes you doing that. It's not just about the vote. It's about building our community. So I have to big up Miss Naila Mangal, because I mean, I feel so good when I see a young lady completed school at Safan, came out and started her own business, exporting to big markets outside of St. Lucia.
You have to ring the bell for her.
The people of Castries Southeast are very industrious people, and I am proud to represent that constituency. I am humbled that they have elected me so many times to represent them, and I will continue to work in the best interest of all the people of Castries.
Now, before the election, on one of the programs, we have to talk about the next 5 years, the upcoming projects and what you're aspiring to do in the next two. But we got not right now, maybe just before the elections. But we'll talk about it. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Minister Senegalusa. There you have it with the program Inside Castries Southeast, and this is what we do every single Monday evening, right there on Sky FM, the People's Radio, and we're also on channel 115 GBD TV. We want to say thank you to all of those who listened tonight, all of the phone calls, all of the text messages. We were not able to read them, but we want to say thank you nevertheless. Tomorrow morning, I'm going to be back here at 9 o'clock to bring you the program Champagne in the Morning. It's a Tuesday. We don't have a guest, so you could call in to talk a little politics. The gloves are off, Senegalusa. The gloves are definitely off. They have been off, but they're going to be on list. And so you could call us tomorrow and talk about all of the politics, and we will be able to have a beautiful conversation. The rest of the programming, we go into the BBC, and then tomorrow morning, the man brother Norbert Williams will be here on Keeping It Real Radio Edition from 6 o'clock tomorrow morning, and then I come in at 9. Senegalusa, until tomorrow morning, you do have a great evening. Always remember to say thank you to the great God above. He was the one that brought you here today, and he's going to bring you into tomorrow. Have a great night. We love you, and thank you very much for tuning in.
Members of the group, the San Isidro movement, a group of...
My MP said that we would have a new wellness center. Here we are. It's almost finished.
My community said we needed a new wing to our secondary school. And my MP said yes.
My sister said she needed help to find a job, so my MP created a job fair.
Our athlete said we needed better sporting facilities.
A new early childhood development center.
My neighbors said. My sister said.
The children said.
Community said. Roads and a new park. And my MP said.
Yes.
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 Of course.
Nous toutes, c'est yon famille en Micoud Nord. Et nous continuons pour faire progrès avec Antigil.
My mother sent us back. It was out of his purpose to give us money. Things were very difficult with my parents, and my mother opened a small bakery in the Castries area.
Because my father do everything he could do for me, not for himself, for me personally. And from there, when I see my house, I just sit and I just remember my mother and my father every day, how they take it so hard to bring us up.